sort of. I mean, a StreamYard, so. And I gotta check my YouTube because YouTube always takes forever to start, and then I like feed back into myself because I always forget to mute something.
Yeah, if you do get a bit of feedback, let me know, and I'll plug my headphones back in.
All right, there we go. All right, guys. So I'm missing a functional, and I am very lucky to have found some guests, especially last minute, because like I was trying a little bit earlier with the hopes that maybe functional would wake up, but like he's got medical issues, so you know it's not much different from Monkey in terms of like sometimes it just kicks in and you sleep when you sleep. So I'm not mad at him. Like I wish he would share his articles with me though, just in case, because he promised me a whole bunch of them, and that triggers the lazy in me. do not give an inch to a lazy person because they will take you for a mile. And I confess that like I do look up articles on my own. It's just lately even on Twitter, I'm not enthused with them, or they're not worth my. They've got little videos on them. I don't know. Once you watch it, they all kind of blend together. So. With Functional, half the time he was just picking the articles because he's getting them off of Facebook somehow better than I am. And I hate Facebook. I hate Facebook. I've hated Facebook for the longest time. It was just like, I think the only reason I tolerated it in the first place was because for some reason Farmville like fascinated me. I hated that game with a passion, but it fascinated me. I was just like, this is some kind of like ninja mind programming that just makes you come back to go do bullshit. And people like spend money on it.
It's like an evil Stardew Valley.
Right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I still want to do a thing with Functional and his girlfriend where Random tries to teach them how to play the game properly, and I teach them how to play the game properly, but with like mods. So not properly. And like, how fun it is to just leave a bomb in the mayor's office all the time.
There's something wrong with you.
I know. But Farmville should have always come with a tractor. I mean, come on. Even when you don't have a proper farm, you really kind of want to have a tractor just so you can say you have one. Right?
Sure.
Sure.
I'm going to go with sure.
Even if it's just like a little miniature lawnmower. Hi, blind girl. I loved it. I hated Farmville. Like, I loved it because it was something to do on your own, but I hated it because it's a spam. Like, I did actually hate that it was a spam. I don't like doing that with people who aren't interested in things, Yeah.
That's right. A lot of those mobile games where they say, well, I mean, you can't get around it in Farmville because it is directly, this person has to send you lives. But some of these like mobile games where they say, send a message, advertise the game to 10 of your friends and we'll give you X, Y, and Z in game. You don't actually have to do that. You just have to click on share and then back out of it instantly. And then it gives you the reward.
Hi, James. Hi, Duck Dog. By the way, I'm a little bit behind on that one. It's one of those things where I'm still kind of inclined to yell a little bit, which is fine to do when you're doing it in a text. I live like I technically have a condo, but this is still an apartment building. At the end of the day, most of the condos where I live now are old apartments that have converted because they made more money off of it somehow.
I think it's the word condo that gets everybody up in a tizzy. Like, oh, we can charge another $500 a month on that.
It is and it isn't. Like, I mean, you own your own place, but at the same time, you pay for like the maintenance fees of the building. So like, it kind of makes sense. Like, if you're an elderly person, it actually makes a hell of a lot more sense because you're living on your own. You've got everything you need, and there's somebody who's cleaning your walk.
Sure, but then you have apartment-style neighbors, and that makes me want to kill humanity. So
I know, right? The last place I lived was great because it was all really thick concrete walls in between the apartments, like up and down and between. So like you didn't hear anybody unless you were on the balcony. You couldn't hear anybody. And it was kind of pot central. Let's be real. Like for such a seniors building, more of the seniors are smoking it than I'd say the younger.
We're all Bob Marley fans here.
Well, you know what? If you're that old, who gives a shit? It probably makes you feel.
What are they going to do? Throw you in jail? Come on.
What do you? I mean,
you
at the
time, sold them
yeah.
all their pot. I know you did.
I mean, oh no.
Lies. It's not Maple Leaves you're selling.
I was I would have been a nothing burger. I'm way too obvious in the face, like I've mentioned before. Maybe
you're not very good at that lying.
I am not very good at lying. It's one of those things where I'm very obvious about it. So it's not to say that I don't, like I will, but it's just one of those things where like if I'm going to be caught out in a lie, I'd rather it be something I don't really give as much shit about. Which is why it's why I don't lie about my weight, guys. That's why if you're online, ladies, don't be ashamed of just being honest about it, because the men are less likely to be pissed at you for it. It's not that much different from traps. Yes, I've heard the rules about catfishing. Women still catfish. Not all fat men.
Jesus.
Yes, my name is Svetlana. I am 25.
Look at this.
From the Ukraine.
Awesome.
I love you.
All right. So how are things treating you guys? It's been a little while since I'd say since New Year's. I think the last time I saw you, Dax, was probably on a monkey stream. I couldn't tell you what time, because those are all at any time. Like I don't think there is a monkey time at this point.
We had a schedule for like 5 months, and then that died.
Yeah, right. And then I think monkey in the morning should just be monkey all day.
That's
at this point.
Monkey whenever the hell I feel like it.
Yes.
Monkey bracket. It's morning somewhere.
I mean, it is. So.
Oh yeah.
Just like it's always 4:20. I've been in Canada for too long with legal pot. It's not good pot, guys. It's still not good pot. We're still not doing the business. It's due justice. It's one of those things where you're like, I realize that it's going to take a while for people to like associate it with like maybe what you would associate liquor with, something that you can do for fun, that you should be responsible with. Maybe you shouldn't introduce it to children. I mean, I know it's funny, but you probably shouldn't.
Hey Timmy, grab a hold of this and then go ride your bike.
Right? I mean, we all had that one parent who did that. I just wouldn't drink it because it smelled like poison. Like liquor as a child smelled like poison. So whenever my brother would drink it, I was just like, so this is how I feel about you mentally. Bleach smells like shit too, but you don't see me drinking it. It took me a long time to start to really want to drink booze. And then even afterwards, my body denied me. It was just like, so if you drink this, you're just going to puke right away. So have fun with that.
She means she doesn't drink bleach anymore.
Yeah. If you're buying bleach and it smells like shit, that's not bleach you're buying. That's shit.
Well, I worked, the funnest thing was working at a 7-Eleven and having your gay boss tell you that, so you have to hide all the Windex bottles because for some reason the homeless people keep pretending that it's blue food coloring. And I was like, I don't think they're pretending. I think they're well aware of the fact that it's not, that it's not Kool-Aid. I think they just, somebody should just buy them some fucking beer, all right? I know you shouldn't endorse it, but at least it's better than having somebody smell like something they shouldn't be drinking. The Listerine people. Do you guys have that problem in the UK? Do you have people who drink things that are not necessarily meant to be drunk, but they do it because it gets them? Yeah, paint thinner. I've heard of paint thinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
The breathers. Yeah. I do have Canadian news dump in my Discord. That's true. It's not like there's stuff I can't find. Just watch.
Pete, I discovered British reality TV like in the last 2 days.
Oh, good God.
So I've been
Are you
watching.
all right?
They're so
Are you okay?
politely angry. It's like you
Oh
put two and two
yeah,
like next
I
to each
guess
other.
I
It's
could
terrible.
cover that one.
What kind? What kind of?
It's the Nasty Neighbors or whatever that one's called.
Oh yeah, the nasty neighbor next door.
Yeah, there you go. That one's pretty funny. And then there was the Can't Pay, We'll Take It Away.
That is brilliant. That.
I don't know how I found it, but I'm watching it now, and it's all Alex's fault. I love it though. Those shows are fun.
Okay, let me see.
There's also shows like they have them like 10 o'clock in the morning, like scam baiting shows. Not scam baiting shows, but like scam sort of exposing shows.
You need to like share these with me so I have things to watch.
Usually presented by what's his name? Dominic something. He
I
looks
knew
like
I
a
wasn't
fucking
the only one
bulldog in a
laughing at
jumper.
this. So did you guys hear that Justin Trudeau has decided to grow a beard? I like to think it's so he could feel he fits in more with his brown brethren, because we know how he feels about blackface. So there's no hands on, there's no hands off on brownface, right? He's already pulled that one off this year and got away with that too. So, well, not this year. That was still last year.
Well, why not? Why not grow one? His wife already is one.
Yep. Yeah, I'm waiting for it to fall off. It'll be like a repeat of the eyebrow, but
it's his leg hair. It's his leg hair. He shaved off and just stuck to his face.
At least it's not Biden's what is it, blonde leg hair? Just, ugh. Why are politicians gross and creepy?
All right. So I don't know that it has a proper picture of it, but I'll share the article anyway. Blind Girl's being really generous, and she's sharing a bunch of her articles with me, which I'm going to borrow because Functional's not here. But I love how Dax has stolen his icon anyway. Even if you don't know about it, you just did, and I think that's fantastic.
I love Baby Yoda.
You should. He's cute. I mean, I kind of
watched the
want to
music video.
hear his name.
Yeah, I gotta know
What's
his
his
name,
actual,
but what's his race?
No, not his race, his actual name. It's one of those things where, like, I
don't
haven't
think
watched
they
the
know.
show. I haven't. I only, I have Functional to tell me about it. But it's one of those things. It's rare that they bring up his actual name.
I've only seen up to and through episode like 3 or 4 because we were watching it over at the parents' house during Christmas, and the stepmother doesn't understand it, so she didn't want us to watch it anymore.
It's Yodini.
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 Oh, okay.
Is it really Yodini?
No.
That'd have been so great.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I just, I don't mind that he's being portrayed as a baby Yoda. It's just, I kind of would rather see them show a little bit of respect to the fact that he's still a different character.
Yeah.
It's like everybody complaining about, like, replacing other characters, and like, well, I mean, here's Baby Yoda replacing old Yoda, and it's just like, but he's his own character.
Yeah,
he's kind of cool as he is. Like, he's cool as his own.
That's why it was interesting Dax brought up the race, because I don't even know what the race is called.
I don't remember what they called it. And besides, that's old canon, so Disney screws up all that other stuff. Like, I was reading online, and this is what I was telling Jen about, that I was looking for reasons to kill myself today. Apparently, they changed, like, how before it was BBY before the Battle of Yavin, and then obviously after the Battle of Yavin, and now it's like BSI or something, like after or before, like the Star Killer incident. It's like, why is that now this turning point? Well, the turning point is when the Empire started to fall, not when the new Empire started to try to take over.
Hi, Alwyn. Your boy is still missing, but we've come to the general conclusion that if he still needs to sleep, he should just sleep. Like, just let him sleep. I'm still gonna tease him for it because I'm his friend, and that's what you should do. But
What friends are for? To wind up and tease.
right? But yeah, no, it's just I wanted to carry on with it just because, like, if I lose the habit of doing this, it's going to, like I said, it's going to poke at my lazy nature. And it's going to encourage it. So I'm going to read through this real quick because it's Justin Trudeau, and we all love to make fun of Justin Trudeau, especially when his eyebrow falls off, at which I suspect his beard probably will, because anyway, so Prime Minister Justin Trudeau appears to be spicing up his look for 2020 because everyone wants to know that, like, isn't he in his 60s? He's in his 60s, isn't he?
Is he really that old?
I think he is.
No, he can't be that old.
He's got to be in his 40s at most.
No.
I'm gonna look.
Let's check that out. I think he's at least in his 50s. I just know he's quite a bit older than me.
He's 48.
48. There you go. So he's almost in his 50s. That's still kind of creepy. He's probably going for, like, what is it? Hello, Daddy? You know, like that little anime game that they had. Gross. Anyway, yeah, you did, definitely. I feel the same way. Anyway, the Prime Minister's official photographer, Adam Scotty, unveiled Trudeau's new look in social media post on Monday. The photo shows a newly bearded Trudeau with his fingers tented in front of his lips as he gazes thoughtfully into the distance. You mean like vacantly?
Yeah.
Very vacantly, because there's no thought involved there. Another photo posted on the Prime Minister's Twitter offers a second glimpse of Trudeau's new beard, because we all know where he's heading with this, right? He might as well just start getting it tan too while he's at it. Many Trudeau critics are quick to dismiss the new beard with a simple "who cares" and a shrug. Well, they should. But I'm pointing it out because I know his tendencies to play dress up. So it's not uncommon for a man to grow a beard on vacation and then try to keep it going when he returns to work. Sure. Except for this guy is, like, all about dramatics. So everything he's done is with the intentions of, like, the mirror aspect of it. So
if this fails, he'll just buy a hat and wear it at a funny angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
He strikes me. He strikes me as the kind of person who you'd meet at, like, university or college who always wore a scarf.
Yeah.
He was that bloke. Just even indoors, dude. You can take your scarf off. You're inside. Goes no. It's my thing. Scarf.
He is that guy. He is literally that guy. Every time, like, somebody brings up what he was like in school, they're like, yeah, he always kind of knew where he was gonna go too, right? Like, because he's never had to put any effort into anything. He's never had to fight for anything. It's just been handed to him. I was just hoping that at least he wasn't as stupid as he is, and I was wrong. Never give somebody credit. Never try. Just acknowledge them for what they are. Yeah, so he's trying to give himself an air of maturity and experience. Like I said, he's trying to be Hello Daddy.
Stop calling him Daddy.
Justin True Daddy.
No.
I could go French on you and call him Papa.
Papa Trudeau.
Yes, Papa. Oh, that'd be so creepy. Oh man, no, those are nightmares.
Oh.
Okay.
Did you hear that noise? Did you hear that? That was the sound of every single one of your viewers' arseholes just clenching into nothingness.
Okay, Papa. Yeah, like I said, they're just going in on his beard. Like, it's supposed to be neat and sensible, but I thought he was coming back from a vacation and he was growing his beard. You know, like I thought that was what he was doing. If it's combed and sensible, then that's not what he's doing. Oh gosh. This is the problem with me in these articles, is I get halfway through it before I realize this is a butt-kissing article. I mean, I should know in the first place because it's about him, and it doesn't matter. Like, they could be ragging on him, but it's still going to be kissing his ass. And let's look at the guy who's writing about him. Yeah, you're kissing his ass. Did you get the money, Elliot? Did you, Mr. Elliot? We know you did. Is it nice in your pocket? It should be. Anyway, let's move on to something else.
Why is it he looks like the only white guy in a tech support office?
He might be.
Uh.
All right. Oh gosh, well that one didn't work. All right, so I don't know. I could go. Oh yeah, you know what? This one's kind of sad, so I'll share this one. We'll do it quick because sad stories are sad stories. So, and I was a little bit disgusted with somebody for a response on a different article to this one, and I will respond to that on here afterwards. But yeah, so basically what happened is in Iran, it's one of those things that comes back to Iran. There was an incident with a plane, and 68 Canadian, or sorry, 63. The other article said 68, so who knows? Like about 60 people, Canadians, most of whom were from Edmonton, actually. They kind of died horribly because I guess it crashed after the takeoff. It was just like it went up and it went down. And like the thing that I was responding to, because this doesn't really cover much of the story, they probably won't. It killed everybody. Like it killed 176 passengers. So this is one of those moments, guys, where like honestly, I don't really care whether or not the people on that plane were Canadian or not. They died horribly. Let's just show some respect to people who died horribly. Like plane crashes are rare. Some of the people in the article that I was talking about, they were like, well, they're Iranian, so they're not really Canadian. I was like, okay, listen, I realize we have problems with our immigration, but that doesn't mean that you should just reduce yourself to an absolute douchebag.
Yeah.
I stand by that 100%, because a lot of those Iranians have been here for a lot longer than most of the kids commenting like that have been alive. And a lot of them are genuine Canadians. A lot of them don't actually like how our immigration system is being run, because it's been screwing with their system too. It's just like a lot of groups. You're going to have people in the group who take advantage of the situation, and you're going to have people who realize that the long run is not looking good. And I don't really like the inflush of mass immigration of people who are completely different, because obviously it takes time for people to get used to each other. But I'm not going to wish harm on 63 people from Alberta. Don't be a piece of shit. Don't bring your politics into people's actual, suffering. But yeah, we can leave that one behind. I don't know why they're bringing Jason Kenney into it, because he has nothing to do with it. Shit with planes. I mean, I know it's rare, but it does happen.
The problem is, I think a lot of the problem is, especially with any tragedy like this, when something like this happens, the news, they have to report it essentially, but they've got to be careful on what angle they take. So they end up focusing on things like politics, because if you look at the actual human cost of it, you do run the risk of offending a large amount of people. Yeah. So that's why, in the wake of a lot of these tragedies, you do see a huge sort of political backlash to it, because the news perpetuates it, because we have 24-hour rolling news now. Yeah. 25 years ago, it wouldn't have been as bad. But we do have this constant cycle of news, constant hours and minutes to fill. I'm going to get rid of this guy, but yeah.
I could see that too. And on behalf of some of the articles, they were just, it's some commentators too. Sometimes it's the anchors running the story, like the lady who was running it. I get that it's her community, but she kept pushing Iranian, and it was just like, can you stop doing that and just focus on the humanity of it? I understand it's a community. You should address the community because it's their family. They're probably freaking out, looking into seeing what happened to their lost loved ones. But when you do that, it it distanced people from the humanity of it. You know, it literally puts them in a different country. Whereas if you humanitize the situation, it's just like, honestly, it doesn't matter if there were Canadians in that. It does matter. Don't get me wrong, it does matter. But it matters that 176 people died. At the end of the day.
Yeah,
The
totally
autism in me is just like, yeah. Yeah, all those people shouldn't, yeah, it's a loss for all those people. So the other news thing that was coming out, I don't actually have an article for it, but I'm gonna bring it up anyway because, like, you're from England, so why not? So I guess
you're just a token Brit.
You're a token Brit for the day, and it's just relevant because it's on Twitter. So apparently, Harry and Meghan are splitting off from more of the royalty aspect of their life.
Sorry, hang on. I will be right back. My eyes have literally just rolled out of my head.
Whoa.
No, obviously not literally.
I was gonna say how cool it would be that now you can actually have like those metal clackers, but just use your eyes.
I mean, it's that one moment when your camera's off too. I'm like,
How fucked up do you think I am?
Well, from the amount of time I've known you, I mean, I wouldn't put it past you. I worry.
Yeah, no, it was basically something that came out today, and I mean, I followed a couple of threads on it. Like, there's two aspects of the story. Like, the one aspect that's like, oh well, she's doing it because you guys are racist, and the other side that's like, look, see what we told you. She's the type of woman who splits apart families, and
homewrecker.
She's a homewrecker.
She's killing the royalty one baby at a time.
And then there's me, who's just like, you know what? There's a good possibility that she's just probably one of those women who just has this weird idea of what marriage is, and then she gets married, and then she's realizing what marriage actually is, and she's rejecting it, and then every time she gets divorced, she forgets. Because a lot of women, current day women, have that cycle of like, oh yeah, when I commit to a relationship, that means I have to actually give in sometimes. It's not just the guy. Sometimes the woman has to give in sometimes.
It's compromise, isn't it?
It is.
All relationships, be them marriages or civil partnerships or just relationships, are all about compromise.
Mm-hmm. And I suspect that, like, it honestly, it's probably not even suspicion. It probably just is what it is. It's just a lot of these women that get so independent that they're just like, the idea that I'm going to have to compromise on this, it absolutely strikes a chord with them. Like, to ruin your whole relationship for it, though, blows my mind.
Well, that's what they've been trained to do.
Yeah.
It's the absolute epitome of like modern feminism. I don't need no man, but I will bitch about any man who doesn't want me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, now we're incels. God damn it.
But yeah, that's how I've been feeling about the whole thing. I think that's pretty much what's going through her mind. And at the same time, though, she's also got a child. She's also got a kid. So, like, part of her is also probably thinking in terms of, like, okay, so Prince Andrew just came out as a possible pervert. And who knows where her connections with that are? Because I don't doubt that she probably does have connections. It's one of those things, if you're from Hollywood, I don't doubt that you have connections to it, too. I'm sorry, at this point, I'm just like, oh, okay. I don't think all of them do, but...
Well, yeah, it's a massive sweeping generalization to say that everyone in Hollywood is involved or is in some way complicit in that, but the odds are.
Like lately, it's just one of those things, or like every particular face in my mind right now. And yes, I am visualizing Tom Hanks, and that's a shame because I do still kind of like Tom Hanks. But sometimes it's the nice guy that you got to worry about, right? I mean, there was that one serial killer that they bring up all the time. Oh, the girls fell for him all the time, and he just killed them all, right? So, I don't know. I don't know Tom Hanks.
True. That's why I like to put across the idea that I'm a complete cunt.
Right?
It's certainly not me.
I don't know, that one look on his face, it was very calling. It was just like, I'm sorry, it's just when you're admitting to your own faults facially.
The thing is though, the thing is though, do you really think it was that, or do you think he just doesn't really have a sense of humor?
I think he's gotten to that age where he probably doesn't. Because you look at like his younger movies, and a lot of them were silly. A lot of them were a little bit goofy for the time. If the older people were doing to him at that time what he's doing to the younger generation, he'd be disgusted. But he's been in that mindset for how long? Since the 80s?
At least.
Yeah.
It's
hang on a sec. Let's get some Tom Hanks detail.
at least from the 80s. Might have been sooner too. I don't know. I just know that I grew up in an age where a lot of it was like reruns. So half the time I'm like, was that a rerun? I can't remember. I have to look back.
Well, he's 63 now.
Yeah.
Bloody Wikipedia doesn't have his filmography on there. Right. It's a separate page. I've got to load another page. Right. So early 80s, mid 80s is when he started becoming big.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Shut up. Ew, Cryptic. I just wrote something you wrote in chat. It's like serial killers are soft when women are lactating. Thanks, Cryptic. This is why I don't read your stuff anymore. And I'm not divorcing the boobs. The boobs are the awesome.
Elwin's got a point. Given the right medication, men can lactate too. The medication I'm on, that is a possible side effect.
I was literally going to say, aren't you taking something that's going to let you do that?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's never happened, but
the moment it does, I demand pictures, and I don't care if I'm at work. I will find a quiet place to look at it and confirm.
I will send you a pipette.
Thank you. God. And then she's choking over there. I don't even know what's going on.
I'm laughing. Anymore. I'm just like, okay, he's gonna have some very special creamer for his coffee. That Dax.
Okay. You know what? If I get $20 on a donation, I will drink Peter's milk.
I know there's people watching right now who I hope clip that.
I demand it be clipped. Cryptic, I'm not going to drink your milk because it probably tastes like the cats that live next door that aren't there anymore. Speaking of drinks, strawberry watermelon.
All right, so I know I've got other articles that I could post. It's just I didn't finish that last one because, well, honestly, there was nothing to read there. There really wasn't much to read there. Okay, so what should I cover? I don't know.
Your shame?
My shame? My shame is covered. My shame is completely covered. I will have you know.
That's what she says.
It is what I say. It's cold up here.
No, you're in Canada. I bet you right now you're in like a bikini just running around just swinging your shirt going,
Hell no. Hell no.
It's like 10 degrees outside in Wisconsin right now. You're like, this is swimming weather. What's wrong with you people? Actually, truth be told, this is actually perfect weather for me. I wear like short sleeves and shorts during this weather.
Okay, this one looks a little bit goofy. I might read this one. When you start off your article with a Canada, please, it's usually something to mock. I think it has to do with Iran too, so I'll bring it up just because, like I said, like it is kind of relevant, but I haven't entirely been following that story just because I like to wait until more information comes out before I come to my general conclusions. I'm also not American, so I don't have that perspective. I'm also not a part of the military, so I don't have that perspective either. And I don't necessarily have the history on this guy because those guys do so much fucking shit, you lose track, okay? All right, so Canada would like a government now, please. Well, yes, we would, but I'd rather it not be from him. So, okay, so this has nothing to do with Iran, which is fine. So the Trudeau 2.0 government is rattling, introspective, and praying to God that nothing bad happens, but they happen anyway. Well, we knew that it was going to happen anyway. I've been trying really hard not to be doom and gloom girl, okay? I've come to terms with my licks in life, almost. All right. Events. Okay, dear boy events. We are promised a news conference later today with the Prime Minister, and it's a good thing too, because the questions are starting to pile up. Ottawa woke Wednesday to 2 shocks at home. News of a shooting in the capital's residential downtown core, a domestic dispute. It seems more of a municipal tragedy and outrage than a national one. Further afield, the far graver news of dozens of Canadian fatalities in an airliner, which we covered. From the Prime Minister of Canada, there was the reassuring news that ministers are consulting, so they're just drinking coffee, right? Minister Champagne. That's right.
Tiny. She's losing it.
Yeah, I don't handle the French names so good. It's like you're allergic when you're Albertan. It doesn't even matter that you don't hate the guys. You just try to pronounce their names and it's not going to work. That's Francis Philippe Champagne, the new foreign minister for files. Chrystia Freeland didn't want. What? The new minister? Yes.
Do you want to send me the article? I'll have a crack at the names.
Okay. All right, I'll send it to you. I'm sorry, the new minister. Oh, that made me laugh though. The new minister for files that Chrystia Freeland doesn't want to cover. It's probably the honest truth too. Oh, she's so gross. Every once in a while, Dax, I will find fantastic photos of this lady because she likes to wear really tight, conforming outfits when she's doing her job, even though she's really fat.
Well then.
And she will sit in these most awkward positions where you're just like, okay, listen, I'm trying really hard to not look at something gross, but it's like a car crash. You know?
No, thankfully I don't, because I've never seen those pictures.
No, you're right. I said them to Monkey. He was just like, what is this you're sending me? These are supposed to be hot girls, Jen. Hot girls.
I've never seen leather on a cow. I mean, that's just weird. I thought they were leather.
So it's Francis Philip campaign.
Let's have a look. Hang on.
It's like not even a tenth in. Sorry, that got me giggling so hard. Just that label.
Francois Philippe Champagne.
Yeah.
Francois Philippe Champagne. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So getting on with it, has been in touch with the government of Ukraine, and it's speaking to relevant authorities and to international partners. Aren't they kind of getting involved with this stuff? I heard I'd seen a glimpse of an article where they were talking about Ukraine and involvement with it. In a news release, Transport Minister Mark Garneau is also working with officials from Transport Canada and is reaching out to its international counterparts. That's still going to take time. I mean, if they just crashed, it's going to take them time. Like, they're still looking for bodies at this point. there's little else a government can do on a day like today when the one thing you couldn't have expected is the thing that happens. There's a peculiar Canadian instinct for blaming Canadian governments when something huge and shocking happens anywhere in the world. It was on ample display after 9/11 when a cottage industry and finding ways to blame John Creshan arose. I worked in those days as the industry newsletter the National Post. It was silly then, and it remains an instinct worth avoiding. So it's easy. It's way too early to suggest Trudeau government is specifically mishandling the aftermath of the chaos in Iraq in Iran and Iraq in the wake of Trump administration's assassination of Iranian terror boss Qasem Soleimani. Did I even say that right? I think I did.
I think so. Yeah.
That asshole, right?
I got lucky because I rushed it. But even illuminate trends.
Well, to be fair, he just goes by one name now, Ash.
Exactly.
Ash, right? It's been 11 weeks since the 2019 election reduced the Liberals to minority. 7 weeks since the new Liberal cabinet was sworn in. Even over holidays, governments normally do things over a span of 7 or 11 weeks, especially governments that were already in power before an election. This very government, in fact, was by this point in its first mandate doing things. Navdeep Bains, the Minister of Silly Ministerial Titles and Innovation, announced the return of the mandatory long-form consensus barely 2 weeks after the 2015 election. A month later, a massive airlift of Syrian refugees began. John McCallum, the minister then responsible, acted the way you'd expect a responsible minister to act, stood up and an agile logistical agile. Is it agile?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just weird in my brain. All right, in an office that was still barely staffed, explained the general principles and specific details of his efforts to the country, coordinated with the Prime Minister's office, but didn't sit around waiting for their instructions. In contrast, the Trudeau government, 2.0 government, has seemed not merely chastened by the 2019 election. That's because they're not. But badly rattled by it. They're not rattled by anything. They think that they still got everything in tow. Like, the NDP has been trashed. Like, if you look at the end of theirs, they've been trashed. Conservative has lost their leader because ours stepped down, which is good because, sorry, Scheer, but you weren't the man. And it would take a hell of a lot of effort to get Maxine up to where he would need to be PPC. And he lost his only seat. So, the Liberals are probably feeling pretty safe right now, which they shouldn't. Anyway, last Thursday to Friday, on Friday afternoon, his office said Trudeau has been closely briefed and engaged on the situation in Iraq, including speaking with Ministers Champagne and Sagan, the Chief of Defense Staff, National Security and Intelligence Advisor, and our U.S. Ambassador, among other senior officials. On Monday, Trudeau started making calls. He phoned Charles Michel, the new president of the European Council. From the PMO readout, as official summaries of such conversations are called, they emphasize the need for de-escalation and dialogue. You guys are allowed to interrupt me, you know. I
like hearing you fail so much that I'm going to let you continue.
I feel like Scribe needs those, you know? I think Monkey's actually doing him a favor and called on all parties to exercise restraint. Then he called Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO, from the readout. They emphasized the importance of de-escalating tensions and the need to support security and stability in Iraq and the wider region, notably through ongoing counter-Daesh efforts. On Tuesday,
I said okay.
Okay. Good. Yeah. On Tuesday, Trudeau called Angela Merkel in Germany. Of course he did.
Called her what?
Mommy.
Oh no, not again.
From the readout, the two leaders.
A small German gremlin.
I don't want to picture her in Yeah, no S&M with her and Justin Trudeau. I mean, that would be funny as a meme, though. If you want to draw that as a meme, that's fine. I just don't want the actual visual. The
Can
two
you not?
leaders. Come on, you'd find it funny. The two
Yeah,
leaders
if you want to draw that, go ahead, draw that. Just don't share it.
Yes, you don't.
discussed the need to encourage all parties to take steps towards de-escalation. Then he called King Abdullah II of Jordan. They called for de-escalation and dialogue and underlined the importance of fostering stability and security in Iraq. Tuesday night, things got pretty hairy in Baghdad. Trudeau met with his incident response group, which exists for such moments. Yeah. So they're used once every 4 years. Okay. Its members include Champagne, Sejan. Sorry, sir. It takes a while. Their deputy minister, the clerk of Privy Council. When I think of that word, I'm still thinking of the toilet. Am I wrong? He's the clerk of the Privy Council. Yes, he's the shit council. All right. His national security advisor, was, as with his Friday meetings, which featured substantially the same dramatist persona. This is a story about the prime minister meeting with his staff. Yeah, we get that. I understand. From his news release after the incident response group met, we continue to strongly urge to de-escalate across the region. To be fair, other ministers have been active. Chrystia Freeland has been meeting with Alberta mayors, which apparently at some point became an exotic and daring thing for federal Liberals to do. No, it's not. Stop being gross. That's disgusting. Stephen Gilderbolt, the new heritage minister, has been visiting sites of federal largesse, which has been something heritage ministers did. We'll have to get back to you about whether it's now the only thing ministers of heritage do. My favorite among the small number of announcements of government activity that I've received lately is this from Katrina Gould. The new Minister of International Development. Though she's long been the Minister of Happiest to Go, where she's pointed on Friday in Toronto, will inform she'll be the keynote speaker at 12:30 p.m. as part of the Trudeau Massey Sentinel series celebrating the 100th anniversary of the birth of... Can we not? Of his father, Pierre Trudeau. Yes, okay, we get it. He's going to go worship his daddy. All right. You know that the reason. One of the reasons he has this job is because of his daddy, right? The conference she's attending, called Liberal International, Then and Now, the foreign policy of Pierre Trudeau, will consider Canada's experience in dealing with superpower security and international institutional architecture. You know, back when governments did things, and the values of liberal internationalism that animated Pierre Trudeau, such as the rule of law, international institution building, and arms control. The conference also seeks to compare those values to what is happening to the world today. Here's one difference that comes to mind. Pierre Trudeau apparently was animated. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he was made up because remember his father's Fidel.
Pretty much. I don't want to get all filial.
Filial.
It just, for some reason, my mind read as falafel, and I was like, okay.
Falafel, we got it.
Yeah. I don't want to get all falafel on you.
But here's a question.
It's over there.
when the 100th anniversary of Justin Trudeau's birth arrives in 2071, oh, good God. And we will celebrate his death on that day because he will have been dead for a long time, hopefully. Will there be a conference? And it'll be due to his own stupidity. He's going to run into a wall thinking it's like glass or something because he's retarded, or anything to discuss at it. It's worth noting that the Prime Minister telegraphed his new peekaboo approach shortly before he vanished from public view. In a year-end interview with the Canadian press, he said he had every intentions of keeping a lower profile in a less leader-centric government. He's not doing any work, guys, just kind of like he did the first time around, because he didn't work the first time around. Every month, he would have a holiday. Every month, he was on holiday.
I'm gonna say, low profile unless leader-centric government. Does that just mean he's just gonna sit back and just let everybody else do shit?
Uh-huh.
That's what he did last time too. He doesn't know what he's doing. He might be the prime minister in name, but he was never the prime minister in the first place, other than in name in the first place. Like everyone voted for him, hoped that at least some of his dad would have rubbed butt off on him, or at least that the people backing him would be like at least somewhat understanding of what they're doing.
Again, he's just making it worse, like Fidel.
Yeah, exactly. You're not wrong. I have no faith in my government, for the record.
We have no faith in your government either.
No, I'm kind of waiting for things to just set fire, just so I could sit there and watch it burn. Anyway, it's worth noting that we did that one. So I think a lot of the time, politics has become very leader centric in terms of the visuals. He told CP, that's because that's what people expect. They expect the politicians who we elected to be leaders to do the work that they were elected to do. That they're paid.
You're expecting too much of these people.
Yeah, I know. He planned to give more prominence to the extraordinary team of ministers who weren't always given the attention or visibility that we would all have benefited from. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Does that mean that we have more visuals on the underhanded shit that you do with them too? Like, the money exchanges? Can we have more of those visuals too?
Wait, you want transparency? No.
But so far, that's not what's happening. No, it's not. It's not actually true that the PM and his ministers are the only players in this system, perched on the virtual seesaw, so that when one falls, the other must rise. Possible for them all to be down at once, burdened by inertia, risk aversion, and the apparently deeply baked-in need for an unelected command. And okay, this person is just dragging on a lot of shit.
Well,
they know what they're talking about.
Jen, it's an opinion piece, and they get paid by the word. So,
oh, is that what's going on? Okay, all right. I'm gonna skip that just to so far we're seeing a less Trudeau-centric Trudeau government as promised. But for ministers not named Freeland, we're not seeing a more minister-visible government. So far, we're simply seeing less government, or rather, less government thought, less government discussion, less government kinetic action. Government spending continues. Of course, they've been spending nonstop. That's what we've been telling them from the get-go, that we're going to go broke. Why do you think Alberta wants to leave? We don't want to go completely broke. The limbic functions are unimpaired. It's just the higher brain functions that are slow to kick in. Thank you. Yes, we're seeing a government that is praying to God that nothing bad happens, but they happen anyway, as we are seeing, and Canadians hire governments to respond, think, to discuss, to act. Here's my advice to Trudeau's ministers. Ministers, those people the PMO sent to be your chief of staff are your minders. Their job is to keep you in line. If, like Bill Morneau, you notice that your third consecutive chief of staff has been sent to you by the prime minister, it may be the time to admit you have never actually been permitted to be the minister whose title appears on your door. If you're newer or luckier or have a stronger sense of yourself, here's a question you can ask yourself at least a few times a week. What could a cabinet minister with my title in an important country be doing right now? Sure, that other ministers in another land would probably sometimes consult counterparts or seek advice from staff, but probably at some point she or he would probably go out into the world to do something and explain why that thing is being done. A cabinet minister in an important country might be more like Chrystia Freeland and whisper at Jane Philpott, and less like the growing list of ministers who once ejected the Trudeau government. So they're actually, it sounds actually like they're trying to pump up Chrystia is what they're doing.
Possibly.
Because there's a really good chance that his government's going to be tanked. Like, there's a really good chance that because he is minorities never really last very long, as is. But because there's very little faith in his government, it looks like they're preparing for a stand-in. Like, it looks like they're pushing her up. That's probably just me predicting the future, but,
Which?
Right? But I'm just saying, because it wouldn't put it past them to try to push her. I don't like her. Like, she's gross, but at least she does her job. I will give her the benefit of actually working. She does work. Whether I agree with the work she's doing is a different matter, but at least she's doing what she's been asked to do. Which is important in politics, you know? Anyway, that's the end of that one.
Hey.
All right, let's do something more fun than politics. I don't know anything fun. What games are you guys playing? I haven't been playing very many games because my computer's still a piece of shit.
I am literally playing 7 Days to Die right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
I miss that game still. I do. It's just whenever I play on the open servers, I crash after like a 10 to 20 minute period, and then it takes me like 10 to 20 minutes just to log back in.
Why?
I do not know. I've tried everything with the settings. I find like people who have like you can still play on somebody else's server, like if it's just the single player. I found that when I've done it with them on theirs, it worked okay. Like, I mean, my computer doesn't last very long as it is. Like, if I were playing for 3 hours, there's a good chance my computer could crash. But I don't mind that. Like, playing 3 hours is fine, especially when you know to like save.
Yeah.
But it's not worth my time if my computer's just gonna shut down after like a 10 to 15 minute period.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's up with that. Like I should try again. Like it's been like a while since I've been on Lope's server, but like I was kind of needing a break from the game anyway. I've been playing it off and on for 3 years, and yes, there's been updates, but have they changed so much that it's a completely revolutionarily new game?
I don't know when's the last time you played.
Probably 18.
Well, then no, not really.
Yeah. So I'm not really missing much in terms of that one. It's not to say I won't go back to it or anything. Like, updates always seem to like change it. So, maybe the next update will fix it so I don't have as many issues. But like I had everything set on the lowest settings. I'd done everything I could possibly think of to make it run more optimally. Even on a low setting, it's still a good game. Like, if you're willing to play Minecraft, then you really have no judgment on the visuals on other games, really.
Don't you be harping on Minecraft.
I didn't hate Minecraft. I'm just saying.
I'm warning you.
Well, I've tried 7 days, and it's when I have played it, it has been fun. It's just I normally play it just on my own, just trying to get a feel for it and how everything, like all the mechanics and that work.
It takes a little bit of time, dude. I jumped in it not like knowing anything. Like whenever I would play with these guys on like the Satsune Monkey days or whatever, I'd run around and I'd hope I didn't screw up anything what they're doing. Now I bet you I could go toe to toe with whatever they're planning because I do most of the stuff on my own.
Right. Well, it's like when I was playing like Minecraft with Foxy on stream. Again, I didn't sort of really get the game that much, but I enjoyed playing it on the stream because I just saw it as an excuse for some banter.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
to do silly things in a very low res world.
To be honest, that's probably what kept me playing 7 days for as long as I did, was because like with the open server, we were just having so much time goofing around at the same time. Like it was just fun. And there comes a point in the game where like you kind of want to troll your friends. I'm totally the one who taught Sinatra to throw rocks at Satsu.
You taught him how to stone a black guy. I don't understand why you thought that was okay.
Because it was amazing. It was just sometimes when Satsu streams, he's eternally stuck in his inventory. And it was after realizing that Sinatra understood where I was getting at with it, Satsu will come out of his inventory and he's just surrounded by at least 1,000 rocks because, he's been sitting there throwing that many at him. And it's amazing because they kind of ping off into outer space. Like it's kind of glitchy with the game when you throw stones as it is.
Hate crime enthusiast.
It's just.
I knew there was something wrong about you.
I also had this thing in the other open server. Like this was after they kind of stopped doing it on the main streams, but I started playing open tag with people, and it was just, well, you're not going to kill them, right? And they started putting scopes on the crossbows, and I was just like, well, I could just sit here and shoot everybody with the stone ones because they're cheap and nobody gives a shit about those. So you just hide, you just play sniper with your friends, and it's a whole other game. It's actually really fun. I found that more amusing than I did the actual game, because like I would sit there and snipe zombies too, because like I was in and out of like being the farm girl for that server. And so you get kind of annoyed with having to be the person to take care of the zombies after a while. Because everyone else is like getting shit. And Data has to burn everything. I mean, were you there for that last hole of his? I don't think you were.
Mm-mm.
Oh, if you ever want to troll a friend, you bring Data into a server and ask him to build a mine under their base. Because he doesn't understand that you have to support stuff.
Oh.
And he's like, look, it looks so authentic. It looks like what a real cave would look like if you were to build it in real life.
And then the first person to step on anything, it just collapses.
My brother's listening, and he's just like, "Isn't that amazing?"
God,
Data's amazing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he will drive you nuts because, like,
yes, it is. It's troll time.
That's literally his response to it too. He completely crashed Monkey and Satsu's base. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry about your base, man. That's really
All the mistakes."
Oh, I love Data. Data's the best, But then there's also, you know what? I think it was Flair who did it. So we've all come to the conclusions that Flair is absolutely the guy who blew up our original base. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm completely unsurprised. I didn't hate it. Like, I mean, it was both shocking and like, whoa, not something you were expecting to see. I miss those days. I'm sorry, guys. I'm reminiscing here a little bit because I miss those games. I miss building stuff pretty just so that Satsu would run by and be like, "God damn it, how did you do that?"
The hotel base? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really insisted on planting trees on Monkey's on top of Monkey's house. It was just something I don't think he understood what I was going at.
Every
Did
time
you
I
like
played
to
with
get
you
a
guys,
tire swing in there as well?
every time I played with you guys, I'd find all the potted plants and just randomly put them throughout the house.
I know. And I kept teasing Satsu that was his grow up. You were just helping him with his circulation.
I wanted you all to get proper oxygen. It's therapeutic.
Yeah, I gotta find a game that I can do that one with a bunch of people. It's just like I said, at some point I'm gonna find something that works okay with my computer. It's just whether or not I can. My brother's laughing at me. He's like, I can't actually play. The problem is the one that I have that I can play is Conan, and no one wants to play Conan.
All the flopping dongs.
Right?
We know why you like it.
Yeah. It's objectification.
You ducks.
Yeah, no, that's why I like it.
I just really I don't even think they have them. Do they have mammoths in that game, Chris? I never played that. Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to tame a mammoth and like have like an army of wolves everywhere.
Animal abuser.
Yeah, no, I'm like that. I'm like, oh, I don't want to have an army of animals under my control. That just makes me seem super cool. Like, look at my control over beasts.
I'm the master of all I survey. Fear me.
Oh, I guess my brother had an ice giant. Oh, okay. Yeah, he used to play with a group. It was an online server, though, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, the #1 server. It's just the only reason I don't want to join that is just because like anything online ends up being cancer.
Yeah.
You know, like I prefer private servers with like, I mean, you can have a decent sized group. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He was saying it was PvP roleplay, so yeah, that makes more sense. And I mean, you can do that if you set it up, but I don't like your face. I mean, if I'm going to do that, I'm gonna go all out and go Neebs on it, you know. But I don't have the talent for that. I don't have the equipment for that, you know. It's like It's one of the things I really appreciate about Functional is because he does have the equipment and he does actually know how it works. So
Why are you talking about Functional's equipment like that, you perv?
I know, right? Ellen's in the chat. I'm fine. She knows I'm not being naughty, but like I do kind of need that help sometimes.
Whoa, wait a minute. When aren't you naughty?
It's a good
point. Exactly.
Good point.
Duck Dog says that mammoths and blue whales would crush the werewolf uprising. Yeah, so like just so you guys are aware, like if you do hear of anyone who does have a server that they're willing to let like a noob on, I've only really played it in cheat mode because I was by myself, and I just wanted to at least take a look at what it looked like. It doesn't look bad. It's another one that like you have to kind of commit some time to because it's a grinder. You know,
Gen grind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It also depends on how people go about it. Like, if I recall Ark as an example, because Ark is actually a lot more similar to Conan than 7 Days is. The problem with Ark is everyone splits up in Ark. It's never really like a team community. Like you might have times where you tame together or you take on caves together. But it's always your own thing because you end up wanting to tame everything and you want to build your own shit. And I don't know if Conan is the same in that sense. Like I kind of figure it probably is. Conan is stupid. Yeah. Anyway. And then we went silent.
Ooh.
Oh.
I'm not silent. I'm snorting quietly.
On air?
Well, I mean, if there's cocaine, I mean... what? Ha! That's funny, Duck. Nobody else is laughing, but I thought it was funny.
Oh, sorry, I was distracted. My brother's telling me that he returned the game 4 times because he was disgusted with it. I don't know. It's one of those things like some games I'm weird about it. Okay, so Duck Dog is playing Subnautica. I didn't hate watching it with Neebs. Like I'm not necessarily. I'm kind of like Satsu in the sense that like being underwater like that would freak me out. You know, but watching other people play it was always easier. Just because
I like the concept they had in Neebs, though. It's just like, all right, I'm starting this planet. I need tech support.
I thought it was amazing. They did amazing with that. It's just you really couldn't continue with the Frozen version because aren't you like kind of forced to be a female character?
No, I didn't play the Frozen part.
No, like the Frozen Subnautica or something like that. I can't remember.
I don't know. Are they singing "Let It Go" or not? I really don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, I'll be right back. Hang on.
He won't.
Oop. Sure.
This is a horror show. He's never coming back.
James is thalassophobic. Okay.
Does that mean he's afraid of snow Mexicans?
I don't know. I'm not scary.
I mean, I've seen you on fire before, and you reveled in it.
I know, it was funny. That was amazing to die that way, though. It was just one of those things where I wished I had an audience because that would have been fantastic. I mean, I have an audience, but at the time it was like 6 people that were all friends.
You make people so nervous.
Oh.
Like, what's she gonna do that's gonna cause us pain next?
I'm not even that creative. It's just like every once in a while I'll stumble upon something that I'm just like, that's actually fantastic. Although I will point out that the stuff that was started with Cryptic, more than half the time he started it, because
Cryptic.
He had a tendency to just run around smacking people. And when you're in your inventory and you get that thud, you're just like, okay, I can't even remember now what it was I was in here looking for.
Cheers, Cryptic. Ow.
So you come out, you're just like, oh wait, you know what?
Thank God I'm finally out of my inventory. How long has it been? Do we have flying cars? Come on.
Let's be real. It was fantastic watching him run away from Sora. Like, that was just so funny. And then I taught her about destroying his bed.
So rude.
But, I taught her the wrong way. It was one of those things where I should have taught her to just pick it up first instead of just breaking it. Because she started breaking it with her torch. I'm like, you're going to be at it for hours. He's going to know. I mean, he's right there. You could have just picked it up.
Yeah, just run and gun it, and he'll never know.
I even DM'd it to her. I messaged her on Discord about it. And then she said what she was going to do. And I was just like, oh, okay.
So devious.
I am devious. But I'm only devious when it's going to have a point and it's going to be fun. But she's so cute, so I don't mind. But never run into a building after her, because she will wake up every zombie.
I rebel on the challenge. Bring it on.
It's like a zombie magnet.
Oh, yeah, she is.
I had a friend I'm playing with now. Well, not right now, but now, the days. He is literally the animal whisperer. It doesn't matter where he goes. There's an animal that will spawn and try to kill us.
Cryptic's like, you're evil. I mean, you knew about it. It's not like she didn't tell you what I did.
It all makes sense now, doesn't it, Cryptic?
I didn't tell her everything. It was just that one time. In all honesty, once I realized that she was that kind of a sweet person, that it was like, okay, well, if I tell her to do something, she's going to tell you about it. So, now Sinatra, on the other hand, now Sinatra I could work with, because as long as it's not like, honestly, I don't try to pitch like really bad ideas. Like, it's not meant to destroy the actual like enjoyment of the game. It's meant to tease you, that little asshole behind you who's just taking the piss out of you while you're struggling in the game, that kind of thing. But like, I'll give ideas to Random and then have Random give them to Sinatra off screen.
That's even more mean than I thought it was. I mean, you know who Sinatra is, right?
Yes, I do. That's exactly why I do that. And he knows it too. I flat out said it on his D Live. I was like, so just any idea I'm giving you is just stuff that I know that you can use for your own entertainment.
You let a woman use him.
I mean, it's not very often. I get. It's the thing is like Satsu used to do it. I think Satsu used to do the occasional one, and he would realize it was funny, and then until he realized it was me. It's like Shio. After a while, you kind of have to change your name so he forgets who he's talking to.
Brilliant. Also rude.
It's done with affection, because you know that when you have people going through your streams, like the guys just stopping by, it's stuff like that makes them want to come back, because they want to anticipate something else happening.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't like I said, it's not intended to destroy the game. It's never actually intended for that. It's meant to just be like, oh shit, really? Like having that one girl throw her diamond pickaxe into the lava twice.
I'm gonna get to the bedrock first. Oh my god! No, okay, I lost my diamond pickaxe.
Honestly, it's not meant to, like I said, it's not meant to ruin the game for the two. It's just because they do catch on afterwards. It's like they do it to each other. It's just, I find they take the game. I'm glad they've taken a break from it, because it was getting to the point where it's just like, yeah, we get it. You build your thing. And then Sinatra deliberately shoots the wrong guy on purpose, and we know he did it.
Cryptic said he never knew that she was the thief.
You never knew that she was the thief? Aw. She did it in front of you. Like, I was
Shocker.
there watching her, watching her hit your bed in front of you with her torch.
I think he's gonna, find her and
Clarify.
yeah, he's just gonna ask, "Hey, you remember that time?"
And she's gonna start laughing, and it's gonna be amazing.
Last thing she ever does, but
Sora's cute though.
all right, fine. Not the last thing. He'll keep her in the basement for a while, but that's about it.
I mean, she probably only did it the one time though, Cryptic. Because, like I said, like this is usually something that you do after you've hit them twice. You're just like, okay, Cryptic. You know what? I'm gonna do something fun in response to your thunks.
I would just fill like all their treasure chests with like clay.
I did that to Flair. It was not fun. It was one of those things where we broke into his room because he hadn't been in like a month and a half. And we're like, okay, so what has he got hiding in his room? And he didn't really have much of anything other than pot plants. So I spelt stuff out in his inventory boxes with cotton seeds.
Wow.
Like, baby, come back. I really miss you. Because he was the guy who would do that to Satsu too, Like, hey Satsu, I collected a bunch of seeds. Would you like them? Sure. 500 cotton seeds.
You're all going to hell.
An awful lot of cotton.
Yes, it is a lot of cotton.
But he didn't have to pick it.
No, he didn't have to pick it.
There you go.
See, if it had been
how
actual
progressive
cotton,
of you.
he probably would have been okay with it, because actually getting the cotton is worth something. Getting the seeds is like, oh well, now I have to plant this shit or throw it out. Well, not anymore either, because they changed that with the farming. That's all stuff I remember changing too.
I'm not sure I feel about having to build plots instead of just tilling the land.
I think it's stupid. I can understand if you were like designing it for an upstairs farm plot on a roof or something.
Yeah, if you're going to make an upstairs greenhouse or something and you have an exposed roof, or that you could put windows up on the ceiling, which I think does work. I haven't tried it, but makes sense if it does. But it's farming. Why do I got to make a box for it? It's not a garden.
Right? Like that. I think the idea of it's stupid. Like I understand that it's to add the nitrate to it too. Like it's supposed to add that extra fertilizer to it. And like I said, like that's an upgrade. That's when you're building an actual greenhouse for it.
I mean, I don't mind them asking us to use fertilizer other than, fecal fertilizer. That's kind of cool. Give me options. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't hoe the ground. Are you kidding me? I see flowers and shit growing all over the place.
It's, I think the alternative that they could have come up with, and for some reason I don't know why it hasn't occurred to them yet, is they could have just come up with a compost heap.
Yeah. I mean, they're still in alpha because, it'll never get beta or beyond, so.
Yeah.
Games don't have to do that nowadays. They get your money progressively, and if they decide to quit, then, yeah. I mean, look at Warframe. Technically, that's in beta.
I haven't played Warframe in ages, actually.
I haven't either because I don't like logging in when I don't have money because I'm that idiot who actually buys the the platinum when it's on sale.
Oh,
I know I'm one of those guys. I'm sorry, but I'm not freaking waiting all that time to build a goddamn suit. I'm just sorry.
It's not me you have to apologize to. It's every fucking thing else you could probably buy with that money.
Oh, I buy all sorts of shit. Like, I make sure I plan. When I buy 4,000 platinum, that's going to last me at least a month.
I will tell you right now that if I'd won money last month, I probably would have sent you a cotton candy maker. Not necessarily a good one, but I would have sent you a cotton candy maker.
Why do I need a cotton candy maker?
Because I'm obsessed with you trying to make cotton candy with Skittles, because you can do that.
You need to send me a cotton candy maker.
Like, it's not like, because there's a little bit of corn syrup in the mix. It's not like the most perfect cotton candy, but it's enough that you'll be eating it and you're like, oh, this is like the orange Skittle or the red Skittle or whatever Skittle flavor you put in.
You underestimate my love of Skittles. Just give me the goddamn cotton maker. We'll make it work.
Damn it! I just want Skittles candy floss.
I just want
Right?
Skittles. I don't even care if it's floss anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was that too. But
Oh my god, I want Skittles licorice right now. Is that a thing? Can somebody make that a thing?
I actually don't know. Like, I know that there's Dr. Pepper. Like, there's Coke flavored ones now. I don't doubt there probably is.
Someone give me.
Oh, hold up. Skittles licorice. I think it is a thing.
Oh! Skittles licorice.
Cotton candy is just a fancy hairdryer. Yeah, pretty much. At least that's what it always looked like to me. It was just the concept of it was kind of interesting. Like, yeah, I watched this video of these guys who did experiments with their cotton candy maker, like, you know, what sugars worked and what sugars didn't, and, you know, because there's glucose sugars, and, you know, they just basically used different candies, and like they tried it with the vegan version, they tried it with like it's basically really has to go back to what is it, sugar cane sugar, and I think beet granulates work too, like that kind of sugar still work too. But it has to do with the granulates and the chemicals involved. And that was interesting on its own. But then it was just like some stuff like corn syrup came out like almost not a floss. It was more like with that stuff you use to insulate your house with. The shit. My brain's dead.
Asbestos?
No, you insulate your house with it. You not kill yourself with it.
I mean, it looks like cotton candy, and I want to eat it.
Except for that it's like glass.
Fiberglass.
Fiberglass.
That's because my mouth is bleeding. Doesn't mean it wasn't tasty.
Insulation foam. Yes. Marshmallows don't work either because those are technically corn syrup. So, which is weird.
Dax, slight correction. There was licorice Skittles.
I know. I just saw. You're making me sad. I can't find sites of any of like the Skittles in a bag. They're all like UK sites too. Your country failed me. Failed Brexit. Now it failed my Skittles hunt. I don't know which is worse.
Just watch. They'll start sending you Brit flavors. It'll be Brit flavored Skittles.
If anybody really wants to host sending me British flavored like Skittles stuff, please. I will eat them and I will review them.
Fish and chip flavored Skittles, like.
I want haggis flavored Skittles.
Well, sometimes those exchanges are interesting because you realize how ripped off we are sometimes in the U.S. given what our guys charge us for, what they charge you guys for. When it's the same company, you know, like especially like chocolate. Like I understand with the chocolate and the wax is it's mostly meant to keep it longer. You know, like I that's my understanding is ours has like a heavier wax base than yours. And that just kind of offends me. I'm like, do you think we don't eat it fast enough that we can't just have regular ingredients like everybody else? Do we really need to keep our chocolate bars on the shelf for years and years? That's gross. Don't do that.
Delicious.
Have you ever had ketchup chips? That's
Yes.
like the one Canadian thing I know.
I have had them and I actually like them quite a bit.
It kind of makes sense as a concept. You know, you have like French fries with ketchup usually in the US, right? So like
No, we're
chips.
heathens. We put mustard on everything.
Yeah.
You said yeah, I was joking.
Well, my mom did. So
Your mom's weird. Ketchup chips are not nasty, Duck Dog. You are a liar. They're delicious.
it's a hit and a miss, and it really depends on the brand you're getting too.
I was gonna say it's a brand thing though. If you don't get the right brand, it sucks.
Yeah, like some brands like really push a higher vinegar, and some push a higher sugar. I kind of like the ones that are a nice blend of both, because ketchup is supposed to be both sweet and kind of vinegary and a little salty, because that's what it is.
I have a bad joke and I'm not going to use it. We're all pervs here.
Oh yeah.
I used to like all dressed. Lately, I just find it a little too salty, and that could just be the brands.
I
Yet
don't like
again,
anything all dressed. You got to have a little bit of skin showing, or why am I talking to you? I mean, it's weird.
all dressed is like, I don't know. It's like an off version of barbecue in a way. In a way, because it's got
How?
similar seasonings to it, but it's a little bit more mixed. Yeah, it just
Right.
I found that it got really salty.
Just like you.
Yes, just like me. I'm too salty, so I have to wean away from the salty stuff.
No, you're sweet.
How
I said
you
that
doing,
without
Noof?
saying
Depoitress is Noof, for the record. It sounds rude when I say it like that. I was taught as a kid that was rude to do. Don't call Newfoundlanders Noofs.
Well then,
That's old Canadian slander, but I guess they own it now, so they're Noofs. But yeah, Functional is Sleepy Man today, so he's not missing in action, but he's snuggled in his bed, and he should stay there until he's no longer tired. And then come back and deliver more articles, because he's the guy who does the entertainment aspect of it, because I don't have Netflix and I don't have cable. So like he'll pull out articles on like the Star Wars stuff, because I know some of that's been coming out. Like everyone's still kind of crapping on Rise of the Skywalker, because I guess that one failed miserably.
well, they should. From the spoilers that I saw, because I have not seen the movie. I'm not going to pay for it.
Yeah.
If somebody else wants to buy me a ticket, I'll go review it or something. But I ain't fucking watching it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've not seen it yet either.
I'm not interested. I mean, it just looked bad.
And then like a lot of the reviews went into like the creepy aspect of the Relo fans, and I was like, well, what did you expect from a fan fiction group? Like,
Really, the whole set of movies felt like bad fan fiction.
That's what it is. I wouldn't doubt that like some of the angles they were coming from was from fact fiction. It's gross. It's like if you want to know why it didn't fail, it's probably because you went that angle. When everything in a movie has to be about who's boinking at the end of the day, your movie's probably failed.
Even beyond that, I mean, they set up a good. Like The Force
Unless,
Awakens
of course, it's a romance movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that makes sense. You're going in for that, but like you go into Star Wars, and yeah, you expect to see a little bit of romance, because the idea
it's like an old serial. It's romance, adventure, tragedy. They're all supposed to be there. That's what makes a Star Wars movie,
right? And they kind of made it more about the sex, like all around.
Yeah, it really did feel like a teenager was trying to express their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I was coming at. It's like they set up a lot of good things in The Force Awakens, despite it being basically a cut copy of A New Hope. We all can admit to it. I mean, we needed a good soft reboot, and that is about as good as it gets. I'm not saying Abrams is a genius, but they did most of the stuff right. Most of it. That being said, they also set up some cool stuff. Like we're thinking maybe Finn is going to be like another Force user, because he wielded a saber against the Dark Jedi, did pretty good. He has a connection to Rey. We don't know why. I mean, why is he trying to protect her so much? I mean, it's not explained. But then we get into this Reylo stuff, and they ruined that whole aspect right there. And they make Finn and Rose a thing, which I thought was retarded. I have so many bad things to say about Rose. And the whole fuel is a problem. In The Last Jedi was just it was stupid. The whole thing was stupid.
Yeah. I didn't like The Last Jedi either.
Mm-mm.
You know, it's actually interesting now, and I mean, I'm sure you guys have read articles on this stuff too, because of laying the pipes, which was funny. I laughed. I think John Boyega is waking up to the fact that the reason that the fans didn't like his character isn't because of him.
No, he was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have no problem with John Boyega. He did a good job for what he had to work with.
From what I saw, his character looked like it had the most potential.
Yeah, it was fun. He was a mixture of a C-3PO and a Lando Han Solo. And it was great.
You know, it wasn't him that people were poking at. They were poking at the story writing and the fact that, to be honest, I feel like I'm sure you get where I'm coming from too. His character was failed, absolutely.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, at the end of the day, if he's not laying her pipes, then Oh, that was funny. I just thought that was funny. It was like the way he worded it. I was like, that was cute. That was cute. I don't know.
Well, the whole thing is they went off the tracks immediately after. When Ryan Johnson got control, they really should have like read his stuff with the biggest scrutiny ever, and they should have gotten old fans involved. I know they were like trying to make the movies for the new fans, but the old fans are the ones taking the new fans to these theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they seem to have forgotten that along the line. You didn't have to give us the extended universe that we had, as much as I would have loved to have seen the Thrawn series and a full-blown set of movies. The actors are too old. Okay, we got to get past that. The Yuuzhan Vong stuff, you still have to be a little bit younger actors. Fine, whatever. Create a new enemy, create a new problem. Cool. But rehashing the Empire was bad play. They shouldn't have done that. It should have been an outside external threat that came in that was led by Snoke, who was influencing these Force users who had started to grow up in this Jedi Praxium that Luke could have started and founded and started to be the teacher. And then, of course, some of his students could have turned, and that could have made him, disenchanted with the Jedi and maybe made him back off a little bit. And somebody else could have taken up the mantle as the new Jedi Master that we have to follow around. And Luke needs to be reminded why he was a Jedi at first. There was a lot of potential for that sort of a story, but instead we got the rehash. And then the second movie comes out, and it's all subversion of expectations just for the sake of subverting expectations.
Yeah. It's like twist coming up. What's the twist going to be? Oh, you'll see.
Rey's parents, man, it's a big deal.
You can literally see them. It's like, oh, there's a twist coming up, and then they literally run around the back. Right, we've got to do a twist. What can we do?
Yeah, it was.
What's a twist?
What's a twist?
Not even the right director. But what a twist!
I would have been more impressed if like M. Night Shyamalan had done it. Really. Like they just mess it up too much. I mean, they could literally go back right now and remove The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, and they could probably make a decent set of films. And I wouldn't be mad if they rebooted it and just said, "Yeah, we screwed up on 8 and 9. We're just going to redo them." They could even have made these stories what-if stories.
The thing is, though, I think if they were to do that, it would just open the floodgates for other franchises and things like that.
But I mean, can we look at it at this as being a special case, though? I mean, how many fans on both sides were happy? How many fans on the one side were happy? How many fans on the other side were happy? If you find that 50% on both sides were not happy, then that's time for a discussion. If you find that 75% on both sides were unhappy, well, you made a product that nobody really wanted then at that rate. 25% were happy, but you lost 75% of your fan base. I mean, I know those numbers are exaggerated because they still made plenty of money. People still gave it plenty of chances, and a lot of people enjoyed it. I can't fault you for liking what you like. I think that The Last Jedi was hot garbage, and it made me not want to see The Rise of Skywalker.
There
this
you
is
go.
coming from the guy who saw like Jumanji. So. But yeah, I have more to say on it, but that we'd have to have a whole nother thing for this. So.
No worries. No, I was glad to bring it up because, like I said, it's still relevant. Like I haven't really gone to the theaters in a long time. Like I kind of confess that I probably haven't been to see a movie since 2016. That doesn't mean that I don't watch them. I refuse to go because they cost too much. And really, what are you getting? Are you getting what you're going for, or are you getting what they just decided to make? And I don't want to ruin my memories of things I enjoyed with new crap. Yeah, I usually wait till I get a proper idea of what's going on. And like, I mean, if enough people are like, yeah, it's okay, give it a chance, then yeah, maybe I'll give it a chance on my own time for a lot cheaper.
Sure.
But I ain't going to the theater for it.
God no. Like I said, I'll watch The Rise of Skywalker if either someone gets me a ticket or it's on sale enough that I can rent it for $2 or something. But I'm not rewarding Disney for ignoring us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's entirely fair enough.
Mm-hmm. I also kind of hate Disney at the moment too. It's just it's gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm probably being biased a little bit, but I've hated them for a really long time.
Since the live action stuff, I've given them no quarter. They're enemy to me now.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just like, you guys, haven't changed. In all honesty, they haven't changed. They're still the manipulative company that they've always been, and I don't think they're ever going to really change.
The problem is they still think that they're right when back in the day they had a point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did we need a remake of The Lion King without actual lions? I'm just saying. I mean, I have a funny, jokish reason why, but it's kind of racy, and I'm probably not going to say it.
Lol. Lol.
You can interpret my brain. Go for it. You know what I'm saying. The jokes are there. That's obvious.
You're fine.
But their remake of the Nala and Simba song was terrible.
Oh, I didn't even.
I've heard the songs. I haven't watched the movie. But I mean, it's Beyonce and Gambino, and on their own, they're each fine. But he does not mix well with her. It was painful to listen to.
I get it. I'm still waiting for the. Oh, shit! Sorry, I just dropped my lighter. I'm still waiting for them to do because Disney. How long can Disney sort of deny this movie exists? But they've got to do a remake of Song of the South.
I really hope they do, but you know it's going to be the funniest thing. It's going to be the exact opposite of how history actually went.
Hip hoppity doodah.
Oh, you're a bastard. Hip hoppity doodah, motherfucker.
That would be so amazing. Oh, Functional just woke up.
Thank you. Candy, feel the love tonight. Appreciate it.
I think we've found my missing co-host. I should send him a link so he can join us.
As we get a little racy with Disney.
Did you leave him in the pantry again?
Rude.
Jen, you've got to check that nobody's in there before you close the door, you know.
It's going to be a problem, but you started locking it because your cats kept getting into all your bits. Okay, thank you. Well, yeah, we know because Cryptic ate them all. Hey, Jack.
Yeah. It's like, sorry. He thinks he had food poisoning. That's not good.
Is he crapping his brains out?
I can ask him.
I need to know. This is all
functional. You know, functional. Is it coming out of both ends, mate?
And are you enjoying it?
There you are. Right. My shit is so slow.
Apparently not his.
Nope, probably not. do you think you're safe enough to come on? Because you're more than welcome.
To be honest, I don't think he's going to pass anything on to us.
Well, no, he can't.
You doubt the power of the internet.
All right, he just needs a moment. All right. It's just as long as I know to look, because... All right, there we go. Hello!
God damn it, Dex!
What did I do? Lately. I accept no responsibility for my actions. This is all Jan's fault.
It's okay. It's taken me just that long to come up with Poop Poop Blast. And I was like, no, don't do it. Too late. Too late. Too late. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have to either. It was just...
It's the best new Japanese game show. Hoop Hoop Rast!
Food is power!
Dude, Robot Chicken's amazing.
I miss that show so much.
Oh, sorry. I just woke up. Oh my god.
It's
terrible. So awful.
No worries. I was discussing from the get-go that like I wasn't sure of what happened, and like I know that you're on medication sometimes, and I know like off and on, like you never know when you're really going to get some sleep. So I was just like, you know what, he'll wake up when he wakes up, and whatever, you know, because I know it happens to Monkey too.
You mentioned she said she was so happy.
Rest.
Yeah, hoop hoop red. No, she was saying how happy she was that you weren't here and that she was looking to replace you permanently with us. I mean, it was rude. I tried to tell her it was a bad idea.
I'm gonna do that. I did, however, secure Will for tomorrow, which you guys don't know who Will is, but Will is one of my my firstest American friends. He's not the first, but he's one of my firstest American Friends because he's from California and
That's not America.
I know, right? He's probably one of the few. He's kind of like Magic in Quebec. He's one of those few magical unicorns in that area where you're just like, wow, how are you managing it?
So we're bad talking Disney, you say?
Yes,
Oh, sorry, yes, we were talking.
I like bad talking Disney.
they deserve it.
I kind of thought you'd like that. Yeah, we were discussing the latest Star Wars because, like I said, it's still relevant right now, and it's more relevant right now. And I was watching a lot of reviews on the Reylo crap, and it was just like the deeper they go into it, the more I'm just like, this is the fan.
Well, you're the assholes who have ruined everything.
Pretty much.
Like the relationship is more important to you than like a story, a cogent plot, and good acting and just everything else. Well, fuck off and die.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was the actual harassment to the actors, like both of them.
Yeah, that too.
That was out of order.
Like
I
that.
don't know why people do that. That's messed up.
Like they're not the characters, man. As much as they're doing their job to portray them, they're not the actors.
And I mean, that's the thing, Dax. These people are deeply disturbed mentally, and they don't have that disconnect of actor and character
because their parents never taught them.
Well, yeah, there's that. There's a definite, like, I mean, there's so many different factors. There's that. There's a factor of a lack of good mental health care and mental health upbringing. And then when people get so far down the rabbit hole that they are willing to openly and aggressively threaten other people in some of the manner that I've seen, they should be put into an institution. But of course, there are no institutions anymore.
Right. We had a long conversation about that on one of the Monkey in the Mornings, if you guys remember. It's like Sinatra and me, and Monkey is just... I forgot who else was there. I know somebody else was there, and forgive me for not remembering this. Just been 1,000
I was there in chat.
You were there in chat. I also want to comment real quickly how I am now your ward. I mean, look at our avatars.
That's why when I came on, I'm like, damn it, Dax, because Baby Yoda's my avatar.
Yeah, well, I was looking at them.
Well, you know what? Forget it. Joe Biden's here.
No! Not the blonde leg hair. I'm not doing it. You can't make me.
Come here, Tom. Let me smell that.
No.
Nape.
No. I'll give it back. I promise.
Yeah, I've missed a bunch of Monkey in the Morning. Like I said to Elwin, actually. Because I earlier I'd been trying to message you, but I figured you'd fallen asleep and stuff. And it was just like last week I'd had issues with staying awake because I'm normally a night owl. Like I'm normally easy at staying awake for Monkey in the Mornings whenever he does them, just because like I'm usually awake at that time anyway. But like the last couple weeks, I feel like I've picked up my mom's schedule, and my mom's like the type to go to bed at like 9. And it's just, I don't know. I figure it's just the lack of sunlight, you know, like I haven't really been eating as well as I should. And it's just, yeah, you know, stuff just kind of piled up. And, you know, it's taken me like at least a good 5 days of sleeping properly, like a normal person's supposed to do, to get back to where I'm supposed to be. But I'll probably drink some coffee in an hour because I don't want to go to sleep early tonight because there's stuff I actually want to do. I haven't played my game in like 4 days.
Monster.
And I'm supposed to stream this thing.
Oh God, I've been playing RimWorld. I think yesterday I must have sat there for like 12 hours straight.
Oof.
Not good.
Advanced colony.
But Dax, I got these wicked Star Wars mods. So as well as like advancing the colony, eventually some of these characters, they unlock their force potential and then they start leveling up and getting more experience so that they can like do things like force push animals and like it adds like this RPG element to the entire core game. It's so much fun.
Star Wars Galaxies.
Basically, but you know, like in the RimWorld scenario.
Love it.
It's really funny because like I'm this tiny little Jedi enclave, and the Empire and Rebellion are fighting for control of the planet. So occasionally they'll like wander into my territory, and I'll be like, "No,
we're good. Piss off."
My leader's like a level 40 Gray Jedi Master.
That's pretty cool.
I need food. And hi, Peter. I haven't said hello to you yet. I came in and started giving Dax a hard time because it's Dax.
Yeah, I was going to say it's understandable. It's Dax. Don't worry about it.
Well, I think I kind of got lucky because normally when I start my stream, you're kind of in the middle of yours. So being a little bit late this time made it a little bit, because I won't ask you when you're in the middle of a stream, like, hey, when you're done, you want to come visit for like the other half? I won't do that, but
that's what I do on Saturday. I finish my show with you, and then it's like I'll go on to like 3 different shows for the rest of the night, like just bouncing. I'll spend 3 hours here, 4 hours there.
It's fine. Just ask away whenever. If I'm available to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with my experience with asking Paulie. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't get him on my stream, but the fact that like he actually responded was just a reminder that sometimes you should just ask.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't ask Paul, you just tell him you're getting on the show. It's like, bitch, hurry up.
Oh, that was funny too. His response was like, I don't mind going on to random streams every once in a while. I'm like, fucker, I've been on a stream with you before.
That's how we used to get them into the show at first. Is like they just get done with their stream at the end there, and then I'd yell at Jack and Paul. He's like, "Hurry the hell up! I'm not waiting on you. Let's go."
Yeah, I think it was a couple of weeks ago we did one with Jack on Jack Gunsky's stream that he does. Yeah, that was interesting because he's very much a different sense of humor. I actually like Jack. It's one of those things. Not everybody likes him because he has this thing about thigh gaps and Asian women, and I'm
like Jack.
Wow, I'm gonna tell him you said
Jack?
that.
But I don't like him like that.
Wow.
Oh,
you were just digging yourself into a hole that you might not be able to come out from.
Oh, probably, but I'm being honest with it. It's just I like his sense of humor. Like he's more inclined to tell jokes that I'm gonna laugh at than a lot of the guys that have been like. I mean, you're pretty good too, Dax. I get your sense of humor too, but like he's got that sarcasm.
But I'm Dr. Ted fucking Nelson.
Yeah, it's a sarcasm that I appreciate. So like, but he's into his Asian girls and thigh gaps, and I'm just like, okay, well, not all Asian women have thigh gaps. I hope you realize that.
I just like Asian women, so.
Oh, you mean Jack? I thought you were talking about Jack Gunsky.
No.
Oh no! What are you talking about?
I mean, it did at first sound like you were talking about Jack G, but I figured out pretty quick that you were talking about the other Jack.
Yeah, that's what he means by digging a hole, because Jack Gunsky's like, what? Wait, what? This is the problem, Jack. Is it's like
there's too many Jacks. We need to just like
we need to jack off.
I like you. I like you, Jack, but you're a little young for me. I would feel kind of like, I mean, you're still an adult, and
you put him in the friend zone so quick.
Yes, I do. But I'm honest with it. It's like if I was a man doing that to a girl his age, I would.
You listening to this tease? Because I can't put up with this.
Yeah, I don't do those types of things. I've had a few younger men chase after me when I just hit my 30s, and it was just like, you realize that by the time I'm 42, you're going to lose complete interest in me, right?
No, Dr. Pepper?
That's not necessarily true.
Savages?
Dr. Pepper is full of savages, but why are we talking about them?
Oh, the place I was going to order food from doesn't have Dr. Pepper.
Oh.
Fucking savages.
They are savages.
Didn't even realize my mic was live.
Am I savage because I like Diet Dr. Pepper?
No.
Thank you.
I actually kind of like it a little bit better. It's one of those things where every once in a while, a little less sugar is better.
Yeah, I like Diet Pepsi better than regular Pepsi. I mean, I'm free. I will freely admit it.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
I can't stand diet soda at all.
I'm not a huge fan of Diet Coke.
Stuff tastes like liquid AIDS.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you get a lot of them that just do not taste right. Diet Dew doesn't taste quite right. Diet Coke doesn't taste quite right. But Coke Zero tastes fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting? We have a different Mountain Dew up here.
So I hear.
It's really sickly sweet and gross, and
made with real sugars?
No, I think it's the corn syrupy crap, but the American one is nice. It's got like a nice tartness to it without being super sweet. I kind of like the Dew.
You drink enough of it though, you have to pee. There's just Mountain Dew does that for whatever reason.
Water?
No, you drink Mountain Dew, you drink like a 20-ounce, and you'll have to pee within 2 hours. I promise.
I always kind of thought Mountain Dew was supposed to be kind of a citrusy drink.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Well, citrus is going to make you pee.
I guess, but I don't have that problem when I drink 7-Up or Sprite.
Plus condensed sugar. Condensed sugar will do it too, because what it does is it you don't get anything from the water. You're just going to pee. Like sugar has a tendency to block everything when you drink it, which is why like it's kind of a joke to drink Gatorade, because it's supposed to have all that stuff that's supposed to hydrate you, but the sugar kind of flushes it out your system.
It has electrolytes. It's what plants crave.
Right? But because there's so much sugar, the sugar actually flushes your body. So you're basically left with the syrup. That's why it's bad for you, really.
Well, Gatorade during a workout isn't so bad.
Tender regards.
Sorry.
Have a good one,
Wow.
James. Cryptic's like, you're all weirdos.
Yeah, we are.
You're the weirdest one of us all, so you would know.
I mean, when he moves in, people have to lock up their animals, so.
God, I had my sound pad running, so I'm like trying to punch in my verification code for Uber. It's just like, Lannister send their regards. What?
Why am I living with the Red Wedding all over again?
Wait
Too
a
funny.
minute. Wait a minute. You lying sack of cheese fries.
Did they lie about the cheddar fries?
No, they lied about my They do all these promotions where they're just like $5 off this order, $7 off this order.
Uh-huh.
Spend more than $40 and get $20 off your order. It didn't give me my $7 off.
Pieces of garbage.
It could also be it's not just sugar in those drinks that makes you pee. It's also like coffee with what's it called? God damn it.
Caffeine?
Caffeine. Yeah, caffeine definitely makes you pee. At least
Doesn't me.
Yeah, you're lucky. It makes
caffeine is a I think the term diuretic.
Diuretic.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, here's the weird thing, though. Like, caffeine doesn't affect me like it affects most of the known world. Like, when I have caffeine, it helps with maybe my headaches and makes me a little more calm. Apparently, coffee for you guys is crack, and I don't understand. And I wish I could feel that.
Yeah, same. I don't really get wired off the caffeine. It's more what I put in the coffee. Like if I load it up with a couple tablespoons of sugar, then I'm like, yeah. I'm gonna fight you.
You turn into peevy.
For me, I'm
Turning
not
Cornholio.
really that different for the coffee. It's more the smell of the coffee that wakes me up. I find like the aroma is more likely to have me go, oh, okay, because it made me hungry. Because I like the taste of coffee. I'm drinking coffee because it tastes good, not because I necessarily want to wake up from it.
I'm glad she's enunciating the F part, because if she's just saying I like claw, you just, you let your mind wander a little.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, Elvin, they definitely have. Uber's been the shit lately. I hate it.
What'd you say?
They've been fucking around with everything lately. The system keeps going down. I'd be in the middle of a ride and they'd be like, where am I going again? I'm like, wait, how do you not know where we're going?
Here's the thing, Dax. I figured out what was going on. It was like I was using my browser window to do the order, but then I opened my phone back up and I'm like, oh, it has to be through my phone?
Oh,
get
lovely.
Like $7 off coupon? Whatever, man. Like $5 for a huge like McDonald's combo. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, right.
Cheap food.
I mean, I usually don't go with McDonald's anymore just because I worked there for so long. But every once in a while, if I feel a little nostalgic, I'll grab something. Besides, sometimes the deals are good. But the last time before the last time that I ordered, we had placed the order around 6 o'clock at night. So it's a little busier. And I'm like, okay, no, we're more than happy to wait. First guy goes there, gets in a line, pulls out a line, leaves. We get charged for it. We don't know this. So we place the order again. Next guy gets to the place, sees the line, doesn't even bother pulling into it, and leaves. We get charged for it. So we do it one last time. The guy goes there and it's fine. He comes back to us. We weren't charged for it. But the first one still went through and we had to dispute it.
What?
It's like, I obviously didn't get my food. It never said picked up ever. And yet you charged me for it. It's like fucking Uber, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's because it's all automated and stupid shit.
Right.
Coffee gives the shits? Gives you the shits, Cryptic?
It can. It's actually one of those things where a lot of diets will give you pills that are like high concentrated caffeine pills because they increase your system. So you will poop a little bit more.
Coffee enemas.
Yeah. But I was going to joke that, like, you know, what really makes your coffee give you the shits? Using that that coconut creamer that the vegans have been pushing.
I won't eat anything the vegans push, so I'm not going to have to push out any stool, so I'm good. I could see myself, if anything, I could go vegetarian and probably be okay. I'm not going vegan.
Yeah.
I like milk. I like ice cream. There's no goddamn chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm along the lines of like cutting down on the amount of meat I'm eating, just because, like, for me, I don't process it fast enough to warrant eating a lot of it. But yeah, I would
raw and regular.
Sweet loves the meat.
She loves the meats. But yeah, no, it's just I can't.
Jen Smeeg is so cute. It's like adorable Smeagol wearing like little blonde wig with pigtails, holding a doll.
I should do one. Just go over the Lords of the Ring again, just to remember some of those lines. Just
stupid fat hobbits.
Stupid fat. I can't even do it. I'd have to watch it. I'd have to watch it a couple times. Stupid fat hobbits.
Precious.
I dare her. Go on. Do it.
Precious.
Well then. That's gonna haunt my dreams.
I know, right?
Oh, precious.
It's like the female gremlin in the Gremlins 2 movie.
Oh God, no. See, as a kid, those movies were the only thing that scared me. I watched like the fucking Exorcist, Seventh Sign, Krueger, Jason. None of that shit bothered me as a kid. And then I see fucking Gremlins. And I'm
Gremlins 2 make you
terrified. Even to this day.
No, Gremlins 2 is a classic.
I loved the Gremlins. I thought they were funny.
That female gremlin?
I mean, I wasn't scared at the time.
I thought he was trying to eat him. Not
I mean, it was trying to eat a sausage. I mean, it's Robert Picardo, though. Can you really blame her?
Yeah, Robert Picardo with a transgender gremlin. Like,
I mean, that's hot.
It was just so funny. It was so not what I was.
And no, audience, we're not talking about Jessica Yaniv.
That's not a real gremlin. That's a dude who's a gremlin in and of itself.
She's back in the news for trying to pull the same shit again with another.
Yeah, with a Sikh place. I'm like, good luck with that.
Is it a Sikh place? I just saw it in my feed. I was like, oh my god, no.
It probably had nothing to do with them being Sikhs. It's just you are a disgusting human being, and they can sense that.
Yeah,
she's had a few cases before where she's said stuff on Twitter where she doesn't like immigrants. So it could be both.
She's a fucking mental case.
She is a mental case.
He's a mental case.
Yeah. It's just all there is to it. But you know what? Trans movement, you can have her.
You have fun with that one.
Her. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have sympathies for Blair Whites and you know the ladies
My
who
girl
are
Eve.
You know, Eve. But yeah, you can have her because you've been festering that for a really long time, and we've been telling you that, and you've been calling us names because of that.
We warned you this would happen.
We did.
Yeah.
We've been saying it for ages. It's like,
it's okay. We'll take care of them. We'll make sure nothing happens. And look what happened. Get on your shit. Tell it to go away.
What we meant by take care of them is, John.
You call up Paulie,
care
he'll
of
handle
them.
it. Yeah, they'll take him out back. There's a little swamp down the way. It'll be fine.
That's the problem with our industry. Too many guys named Paulie.
First off, I love Goodfellas. I watch that movie once a month.
That was a combination of me doing Goodfellas and Star Trek.
Yeah, well,
Take it easy, Elwin. Take care of yourself.
See you later,
Good
Alan.
rest.
I am glad. I'm glad everything turned out okay, though. So
Yeah, she had a little. I don't know if she told you she had a little procedure done today.
yeah, she said
So
she was a little bit
she's-
sore, but things turned out okay. So that's what matters. One step at a time. And she said she's gonna have to lean on you for a couple days. I'm like, well, then she's good because you both lean on each other. So that's what's important.
Yeah.
Yep. So how about that World War, huh?
Yeah, that looks like it's on the rise. I'm not opposed to it. For some reason, I should be. I'm supposed to be.
I'm not. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No, not the way that they're portraying it. Like I could see maybe some conflict because the people you're in conflict with are completely insane. But
They're also inept, so I'm not worried about it.
right, right.
There's
So-
also like even if things escalated or whatever, there's no war.
Mm-mm.
There's no war. There's one of Trump's generals pushing a button, and boom, a lot of people dying.
Yeah.
That's it. That's warfare in the modern age. I mean, yeah, we could invade somewhere and put boots on the ground. Why? Push a
What's the
button, some
point?
drones come out and kill all the commanders for the thing, and then we say to the rest of the populace, well, you have a choice, use it, and hopefully you won't pick the wrong person, so we'll have to do this again in 3 years.
I mean, it was working for Obama with the drones.
Yeah,
That was a joke.
you're saving American lives and enlisted men's lives, but if somebody's got to die, like this guy was big terrorist numero uno in the world. It's not like
Top tier scumbag.
It says a lot for the group that are like crying about it when most of the Iranians in every country where they have them are cheering for this guy's death.
Yeah.
who literally escaped the 1979 revolution and the Islamic State taking over. And people seem to forget, yes, it does go back further into the 40s and 50s, but the 1979 revolution, right before that happened, Iran was a relatively progressive, okay nation to live in.
Yep.
Women had rights.
Well.
They could drive. They could be out in public uncovered. Young men weren't seen as targets for older men. And then all of a sudden, boom, the Islamic State takes over and the entire country goes to hell and becomes a military fucking aggressive, like, attack dog on a chain. And then they severed that chain and yeah, look what happened.
But it's all our fault.
Yeah. Well, your fault. We're snow Mexicans. You guys are the evil ones.
But you're white.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, this is the thing I think a lot of these people who are judging this decision don't understand. It's like, yes, lives were lost, but when those guys make those decisions, they're weighing the outcome of the lives that they're trying to save.
Yeah.
It's not like they're happy that they killed a bunch of people. They're looking at how happy they're going to be that they might save some people in the future, because that's what they're trying to do. We don't have any, as Western countries, and I'm speaking for myself when I say this, I think majority of us don't really have any interest in your country. We just don't want you guys doing shitty things when we're trading with you.
Oh, no, I'll let you speak for me in that. Yeah, I don't give a shit about you. Leave me alone. That's all I care.
Pretty much. I mean, if you're going to do shitty things to your people, then I might not trade with you, and that's my decision. But you don't go dragging us into it and then saying, well, it's all us. They are more than accountable for the shit that they do.
And literally every day in their parliament, they're like, death to America. So about the tax reform, death to America. So I heard you went out to with that lady friend of yours last night.
That new falafel place, how good was it?
Did you get to see her ankles?
We can't talk about that. Cut the feed.
Too rich for TV. Oh my god.
Arabs Gone Wild. It's just pictures of ankles.
Which is really weird because these same apologists will like look at China and be like, no, leave them alone. They're a sovereign nation. Yet they have literal concentration camps for Muslims.
Yeah, which one's more oppressed?
Oh my god, what is wrong with these people? I'm like convinced that the crazies are literally in charge of the asylum now. The asylum being society.
They don't care what it is they're fighting for. They just have to fight, especially when it's against the people that they think are the bad guys.
Evil white men.
Evil white men, white conservatives in general.
Well, that's the thing, Dax. I'm a liberal. I'm a milquetoast English liberal.
I know.
I'm just saying, like, this is what gets me the most about it is I look around at people I used to consider, on my team or like of similar minds or whatever on most issues, and I'm like, you've literally fallen off the deep end faster than it took me to even look at you.
And no wonder you're losing people in the votes.
Yeah, well, no wonder I'm voting conservative these days. Like,
I'm a happily proud, moderate, conservative libertarian. And if you can figure that out, you'll know me to a T.
I can tell you right now, Functional, that where you are right now is probably closer to where I was back before the first time Justin was elected. Like, I didn't want him in, but I was willing to be fair about it.
That's how I felt about Obama. I didn't want him in, but hey, he's my president.
Yeah.
I just, all I could hope was that, like, he would have some pride in his country.
Once again, that's what I felt about Obama.
And it's one of those things that as the years have gone on, the more like that's why I think I went so extreme this year. Like, it's not even that I'm even extreme, because I'm not. It's just that, like, I've realized how far downhill we're going.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? It's like what you would call liberals 5-10 years ago are now what the liberals are calling conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what's scary, because it's not even that big of a gap in time.
No, it's really a short.
No.
In political terms, it's an incredibly quick time.
Yeah. And Jack, no, I think you're entirely wrong. Yes, there were people who were a lot more insanely left than me, but they've slowly been going further and further towards that cliff. And these are the same people who would, come to me and be like, the extreme far rightists and blah blah blah, they're crazy, these evangelists and the religious right, blah, the sky's on fire.
Help wondering if it isn't again going into that groupthink herd mentality, because it's really hard to think as an individual that you're in a groupthink, but I feel like people will brainwash themselves to believe in shit just
their confirmation bias.
Yeah.
They
got to feel like they belong.
And it's just, I came from a generation that was supposed to rebel that. Like, I know I'm technically like the weird end of millennial because I'm like 82, but it was
still we denounce that, though. As you and I can both attest to, we don't think a thing like a millennial.
We don't, because we're still part of the generation that was more like you rebel against that kind of thinking.
Yeah, I consider myself Gen X no matter what they say.
Yeah, Gen X.
I really rebel that kind of thinking. It was just like, no, you're not supposed to conform to everyone. Like, yes, you're supposed to get along to the best of your abilities because we live in a society surrounded by people. But
that was true progressivism, though, where we both could take sides and still find something we could talk about and go, yeah, no, I agree with that.
Right?
Now you can't agree with the opposition, or you're a traitor to whatever side you belong to.
Yeah, it's like, I never belong to any side. I believe what I believe. You can just fuck right off.
That's where we were supposed to be by the end of the 90s, and for a little bit we were.
Mm-hmm.
And opinions was like shopping. Like, you could just pick on the list what stuff you liked.
Yeah.
Well, see, what tipped it though? What do you think sort of changed that?
Well, I think it's the insidiousness of, and I don't mean that in a negative connotation. It's just like almost Machiavellian in that the conservatives, the conservative left, conservative right has taken these people who are true liberals and taken them under their wing. And, because the liberals look behind them and they go, why are they jumping off a cliff? Mm-hmm. Why are they insane? And why is now conservatism in the big three, UK, Canada, and the US, so big right now is because that's the only sane party left. Like, I can talk to a conservative. I can't talk to a fellow leftist.
I try. Sometimes you can. It depends on how young they are and how much of the indoctrination.
Well,
I
how
don't like
far
necessarily
off
using the
the
word, but yeah, you know what I
reservation
mean.
they are. Yeah, of course. But it's just, and I mean, yeah, sure. I might not agree with conservatives on so many things, but at least we can
Sure.
agree on things like core values.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's important. Because without core values, what kind of footing do you have for anything? And like you were saying earlier, these people just want to fight for the sake of fighting.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm okay with not fighting. I'd rather get along with everyone.
Yeah, yeah. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather agree to disagree than have a long, drawn-out fight with somebody over nothing.
Right.
Because when I debate or argue someone, it's not like I'm debating or arguing them to change their mind. I'm looking for dissenting points of view.
Mhm.
And when you come with just like you're cross-eyed, your view is like all over the place, like, well, just go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Jack. You're not wrong. They
Yeah.
would have. But the thing is it would have been terrifying because back in the 1970s, wasn't that when they were really into that mind control bullshit? Like, that's what I remember. Like, there were so many situations with, like the guys that Bernie actually hangs out with, surprisingly enough.
Oh, yeah.
You say surprisingly. I'm like, no, it makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, like I don't play with that kind of stuff. Not when it comes to politics, not when it comes to leaders in any sense of the word. My ancestry and pretty much everybody in this room's ancestry, including Peter's to a different extent, to a very different extent because you're from England, we left Europe, from various areas of Europe, because we didn't like being treated like a serf. We didn't want to be a servant.
Yeah.
We didn't want to be told what we could and couldn't eat, where we could or couldn't live, where we could or couldn't work, where we could or couldn't go to school, what we could or couldn't think, or what we could or couldn't say. It was worth it to go into the middle of nowhere where we could freeze to death or die starving to death or be poisoned by stuff that we were eating or be eaten by bears or
On the
kidnapped.
off chance that we can make a better life for ourselves. Yeah.
Right.
It was worth it to do that than to live like that. And now they want us to swallow that pill. It ain't gonna happen. Nobody lives this free. Even in Canada, where we were still a colony, it was still freer. With all the taxes, it was still freer.
That'll go away when Greta's in charge.
Right?
How dare you?
I knew you had one ready. Thank you.
How dare you? Yeah, I have no interest in that. I will vote for anything that pushes me away from that to the best of my abilities. And I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's a lot for me to say that because
Freedom, bitch. Accept it or fuck right off.
right?
Right. There is no in between. That's why free speech is so important.
And why it should be an absolute right. And not like Bernie Sanders with we got to make healthcare right for everybody. Well, no,
It's not a right.
It is demonstrably not a right. It is the possible product of a wealthy nation.
Right.
When you are a nation that has so much freedom and so much wealth accumulated, then you can start taking care of the tribe. But on the individual level, no, people gotta thrive and survive first.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it does kind of astound me that the United States doesn't have some sort of healthcare system that isn't completely retarded. The ACA was just a massive fuck up.
Oh, I'm not going to, again, as a mostly conservative, I can't disagree.
Yeah, I I have some friends who they're older, they're in the blood wing sort of range of age. And two of them had heart conditions. They had healthcare because of their history, and they invested in paying for healthcare while they were younger and working and all this. Mm-hmm. Then the ACA came along, and they couldn't have their health coverage. And
it was charging me. Well, that's the thing. So many people have stories that they couldn't get their healthcare stuff, and then there are people like me who I wasn't paying insurance because, hey, I didn't need it. I never went to see a doctor, and if I really got in trouble, I was saving up that I could use it for that funds. But then at the end of like the day, they end up charging me the same amount it would have been for me to just be on insurance, so I could pay somebody else's insurance. Go to hell. that person can go out and do what I did and have their money saved up and they'd be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying it's the
I like
best
that.
thing, but
I like that choice, but I also like the socialized system because it was something that I've never had to think about because taxation automatically covers it for me. So it's not something, it's in that case sort of just a luxury that I never had to think about it. But I'm on board with if you want to have a privatized system and you have the choice as the individual to pay into health insurance, then sure.
that's what I mean. Like having more options would be great. Like if there was a government option, not a forced choice, I would have been a happy guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those interesting things because like I think everyone here agrees that like, your parents should probably set money aside just in case of breaks. Like
Sure.
It's common sense that your kids are going to do something like that.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
on the off chance that your kids get something that you were never hoping for, like cancer, it's one thing to like set aside money from the government for low income families who end up with that horrible surprise, because I understand that there's certain insurance companies where you can set aside money in the off chance that happens, but like, how much are you going to be able to do? That's the problem with the social programs. It's like sometimes it's like, okay, well, let's tweak it so maybe certain families can get some help in those cases where, yes, they were trying to save money in case of like the off chance their kid needed a hand. But obviously this is something outside of their, it's one of those situations where like, okay, they need help, and it's
See,
It's-
here's where I counter that
yeah.
though. You remember back in the day how community meant a community?
See, that's where I would lean as a conservative. The community coming in to pitch in to help that family.
Right, as well as they should. I know most of my neighbors by name. I really do. And I made that a point when I moved in here. It's like, if they know me and they know what kind of a guy I am, they know I'm reliable enough, why shouldn't I be able to rely on them? Say if I had like a fire or a flood or God willing, never happens, but what happens? And I don't have the kind of coverage I need. What if I don't have renter's insurance? These guys would, back in the day, would grab some boards, some nails, and he'd come in and replace my floors, and we'd find somebody in the family who was an electrician, you'd be good.
I think that's the problem with the social programs, is they tweak at you with that kind of angle. And let's be real, that should always be the rare angle. Because like, I don't know how many kids in North America end up with cancer. I imagine quite a lot. And sometimes it's serious and sometimes it's not.
Leukemia, mostly. You hear that a lot.
But obviously that's going to tweak my heart, isn't it? It doesn't matter what side of the angle I'm on. It's going to tweak my heart because like I'm thinking, and I'm not saying you wouldn't be tweaked by it either because it's a kid, but like I would rather that they ask me as a conservative to pitch in when I can.
Yeah.
Through charity. And I don't know why that's changed so much because I would rather know where it goes. It's the thing with the charities too. It's like there's so many charities I won't donate to because I don't trust them,
Sure.
And I mean, if the government interacted with those guys, like made it like, okay, listen, you can't do that. Those kind of regulations, I wouldn't have as much of a problem. Like I realize that's still like government having the hand in it, but like, if you're not getting tax exemptions, but those donations aren't going to the places they're going, maybe don't give them those tax redemptions.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know I donate when I have it. I mean, I'm not a rich guy by any means, but it's like the same way when you lovely people decide to toss a donation to me. I usually pay it forward at least a rate of around 25% or higher a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know where it's going. I know every time when somebody says Hardy Canal, that's a local Wisconsin one. I know where it's going. It's going to a chain of groups that fund for, like you said, child cancer, as a matter of fact, and housing these people during crises and stuff. Ronald McDonald Charity House, as much as everybody laughs at, McDonald's, they tend to do decent work. It needs better structure, I think, but they have a good plan in place.
And the other thing with the socialism, like I think this is the point that a lot of socialists don't understand, is like if the government is the one donating your money, where is it donated to? How do you know that your tax dollars that you're hoping are going to go to those people that you think need help? How do you know that those are the programs that are going to get that money?
So that leukemia patient's getting their funding, not Jessica Yanives of the world who just defraud the system.
Right, because remember, that's going to be an available option sooner or later where on your insurance, that's not an elective surgery anymore. That's a corrective surgery. It's life-saving.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hate to say this because, again, I love you, Eve, and if you're listening, I apologize, but getting it chopped off or turned into something else is not a life-saving surgery.
No.
Sorry.
No, and it's one thing for Eve to ask the community for help with something like
Sure,
that.
I'd throw in for that. Obviously, I love Eve, so.
And that's different. I would support that.
Because it's choice.
Exactly. And that's the difference. And I think that's the problem with their understanding is they don't understand that most people who are generous are very generous. I am poor. And even I try to find ways to give the extra dollars I have to places that I care about. Because I know it could be me, or someone that I care about.
Sure.
It's just I like to know where it's going because I don't trust a lot of donation centers, and I definitely don't trust the government with where I'm putting my money. So
yeah, nor should you.
So, yeah. And let's be real. Like let's look at all these people who are like, you should donate. You should donate. How much did they donate?
Right. I hear Bernie Sanders is easy target, but I'm going to use him anyway. It's like you say donate all the time. Donate. Socialism. You should not have any sort of the word millionaire attached to you in any way, shape, or form that other than anti.
And how often does he donate? Because my understanding of his
10,000 in the last decade.
Yeah, not a lot.
Of his almost $180,000 a year. Not to mention his private income.
Yeah, you should not have that many zeros attached to you, Bernie, if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to represent the poor people.
I mean, I've probably done that on my own, and I am poor.
I mean, one of those DNC candidates who I could get behind, even though he is a millionaire with a message, is Andrew Yang, because A, he's a self-made millionaire. He's not a government teat sucker. And two is because most of what he did was through philanthropic charity groups. It wasn't for-profit corporate America,
I can respect him for that, at least.
Understand. So, this is what I'm trying to say is, I have that respect for him because he ideally would treat government like a nonprofit. Right. And a lot of politicians treat government as a for-profit system. We want to have a surplus at the end of the year. Well, no, that's not how things work. Or you want to be able to have enough of a surplus at the end of a year spending that you can start tackling your deficit more or something like that. And it's like, no, that's not how you should be running a government. A government should be, the social programs and social safety programs and nets and stuff that you have in society already should be tied into whether or not your economy is doing well enough to support them.
Right.
And they're coming, full circle back to healthcare. If your system isn't doing so well, then yes, your amount of coverage for things could be, tightened up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we up here, we have the same problems you do down there with having these types of social safety programs, and across the pond as well is the unfettered immigration, legal, illegal. There's just too much. They opened the floodgates in the late 70s, early 80s, and they haven't shut them to allow people to disperse more, to integrate more. Most recently, because of other huge world events, the tsunami in Southeast Asia with, basically destroying the Philippines, people escaping China, like I said, Iran, Syria, there's just too many, and they're all going to the same cities. And thus, the care in those cities just becomes completely piss poor. Look at the wait times you have to wait in London or in Toronto for relatively essential services. Like, took me 6 months to get an MRI after a car accident.
Bogus.
That's something that should be a little bit more important than 6 months.
Yeah, that's...
Ooh,
it's quite a while.
Cryptic was in the Philippines when that happened.
Confirmed he caused.
He ate all the cats there too. Try to find a cat in the Philippines.
No wonder nobody else had any food. Rude.
He dropped his trow and it just caused this massive tidal wave of bitches.
Kidding.
Oh boy. Ooh. You want to see something funny? Where did it go?
Don't do it.
Where did it go? There we go.
Functional, the pants stay on.
Yeah,
So
please.
Cryptic, by the time you left the Philippines, how many Filipino girlfriends did you have? Be honest.
How many Filipino hookers, you mean?
And how many penises did they have?
He wasn't in Thailand.
Okay. So this is funny. Meanwhile, in Canada, so this person had this unexpected pair of visitors at their front, and this is in the middle of Edmonton. This is like like a fairly major city in Canada, and two cows just decided to wander up to this person's front door, and like they were like knocking and looking at the camera and stuff.
So
We've just moved in.
How we just moved in.
Yeah.
We're your neighbors from down the block.
It's like, oh look, free delivery.
We offer milk in exchange for nice warm hay.
He was like
I
five
love
or
Canada sometimes because remember that one video, Jen, I had of like the two moose who went down south and were fighting in Jersey somewhere, and this guy's like, "Oh my God, Ma, it's a moose or a bear or something." It's like, oh God,
That was so funny. I don't blame them for being scared though. You know, being close to that kind of a fight, I would be nervous too because they're no joke. But
why do you think I'm breeding this army of armored battle moose? Because they're tough fuckers. And
all you got to do is get them to be a little bit less ornery so you can sit on them.
Those antlers, if you miss your shot when you're hunting moose, those antlers will stop a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it really hard to get that nice, clean brain shot when their skull is padded by 4 inches of just bone.
See, you're doing it wrong. You're supposed to sneak up on them when they're watching TV and slit their throats.
While they're watching TV, we don't allow them to have TVs.
Wow, you monsters!
Dax has clearly only ever gone hunting inside a Looney Tunes cartoon.
I don't
No, in a
think Dax
Walmart.
has ever
It's
seen
in a
what we do
Walmart.
to those baby seals before either.
You take them out clubbing. I heard all about it. That's really nice to you.
But we don't even get them drunk.
There's some
first.
good tunes, huh?
I want to see
That would
somebody
be
do
so-
a steel club.
Oh, that would be such an amazing meme,
Where the hell is Far? I need to commission that.
right?
It's a seal clubbing.
He's doing the night at the Roxbury, holding a what do you call a Cuervo in the other?
That's so
Not
good.
Cuervo. What's that beer called?
Corona.
Corona. That's it. Wow, my brain. Fuck.
I don't even drink, and I knew that.
I don't drink either. Well, no, I very rarely drink, and if I drink, it's something
I drink
really
wine.
good, like a nice glass of wine or scotch.
Bottle of Chianti.
That's as close as I'm gonna get.
Was there any update on the airplane that had like 60-something Canadians on it that crashed from Ukraine?
So I still don't know the correct number on that one. So the last one I read, Blind Girl shared an article with me on it, and they said 63 people had been confirmed dead. I thought it was 68 because the one I'd seen before said 68, but 63. So it's out of 167 passengers. 63 of them are from the Iranian community in Edmonton, and I'm sorry for them. Like that's a shame. I was a little bit disgusted with the chat for that video just because people were like, oh, well, if they're calling themselves Iranian, then maybe they should all move back. And it was like, bro, do you have family across the globe at all? Like, can I tell you not to come back every time you go visit them, because that's what you're doing.
And what they probably don't even realize is these are, again, like I was saying earlier, these Canadian Iranians in like the two biggest outside of Iran groups of Iranians is in California and in Toronto, my city. And these are the people who escaped the totalitarian regime of the Ayatollah. Like, these are the people who are on your side, who are like, no, fuck Iran. Like, the government, the people are okay. We need to save them from the regime. And it's, oh God.
Yeah,
But,
that kind of pissed me off. It was like, don't get me wrong. Like, I get that you're mad at the immigration issues that we have in Canada, and I understand that one. I agree with a lot of those sentiments, but that's not the Iranian community's responsibility. It's not their fault, and don't hold people who you don't know how long they've been in Canada for. They could be older than you and more Canadian than you, for all you know. Don't hold them
And
accountable for shit that they have.
They became citizens, so
yes. A lot of them actually work
Deal
in our
with it.
oil field. To be honest, they're really just crapping on people who probably work in our oil fields, to be honest. So as an Albertan, I actually do have to advocate for that, because my dad worked with a lot of Iranians. You know, like he said they were arrogant assholes, but you know, he would never wish harm on them.
It was really weird too, because I saw it trending that people were like, well, why are you just talking about the Canadians? What about the Iranians that were on the plane? And it's like, motherfucker, do you not know how things work when they trend? It's a pure numbers game. And hello, Canada is way fucking bigger and has way more people on Twitter than Iran does. So yes,
not to mention those Canadians were probably also Iranian.
Or they didn't even necessarily have to be Iranian.
They didn't have to be.
They could be going there for any number of reasons.
We do business with them.
Yeah.
A lot of business with them.
Yeah, we help them with their infrastructure a lot. We're right in there in the middle. Well, probably not right now because we send everyone to Australia. You're welcome, by the way, Australia.
And speak of the past, it's still one of those places where, like, yes, if they didn't have the problems, they would actually be a very interesting place to visit. You know, if they didn't have the problems, if they didn't do the shit that they do, I wouldn't mind visiting them, because I'm not opposed to learning about, you know, they've actually got a lot of like historical buildings and things that I would like to see, you know, that I've seen in pictures and things like that. I would never go, because of the issues they have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that, because back in the, when my mom was pregnant with me, her and my dad were thinking, well, where do we want to go for vacation once I slide out of the womb? And it was up between Tehran in Iran and Detroit, because I have family there. I have family in Iran too. So, you know, the whole revolution happened, and they were like, no, fuck that. And I was born on American soil, thank God. I'm one of the very few people who is allowed to be a dual citizen. But yeah, no, I was just wondering, because I fell asleep for quite a bit, and just wondering if there was any development on that. Doesn't look like it. Just looks like they still have the numbers, and people are doing all this speculation. And you know what? It was probably some asshole with a portable Sam who. I mean, we're talking about terrorists here. They don't care who they shoot down. If it's their own countrymen, Canadians, Brits, Americans, it doesn't fucking matter to these people. Only that people will start talking about what they just did. And the fact that they're doing this for the greater good.
The greater good.
And for all they know, this could just have been a technical accident. For all they know, like I get right now that like the speculation is they were shot down, but for all
it's not even been confirmed?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's grainy photos at best.
You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, with the situation going on, I understand the paranoia and wanting to look into it to make sure that's not the case. But
and Iran's really not helping. So,
you know, but like they haven't even they don't even have the bodies yet. You know, like you got to give them a little bit of time to work things out. And like they're freaking out as it is down there.
Yeah,
like I imagine they're like, if regardless of whose side you're on, you're probably freaking out, because those are never good situations. Even if the outcome is meant to be good, the immediate is never good. You know, it's like what they had people trampled at the guy's funeral.
Yeah,
they were all like, for all you know, half of them were forced to go to. We don't know. We don't know what happened there. I don't know. I'm not Iranian. I'm not from there. They might have been offered free food. I don't know.
Probably were, to be honest.
Well, that's what I heard as well. That they were.
You know, to get more of a big show and a big picture. And I mean, like, I don't know. I'm not from there. I'd like to hear something from somebody who's from there, but at this point, I'd be terrified to bring them on.
They're
for their
very
behalf.
well. That's the thing. They're very isolationist, so they believe what state media tells them. That's part of the problem. Is when you're dealing with such a power, you have to not only fight the tyrannical regime, but you have to fight the people who are brainwashed and don't really know any better. And it seems a little smug to say that, but it's kind of true. You see that in Iran, North Korea, China, and I mean it's very demonstrable. Like there's no hiding it. This is kind of scary though from our side of the pond. Is that the U.S. is to start collecting DNA from people detained at the border. Now, in the article, they're talking about people apprehended in the U.S. border protection area in or near Detroit. So we're talking the northern border here. And as somebody who, up until what happened with 9/11 and the border tightening and needing a passport and all this just to step across the border, it was a big thing. Like I haven't been back to the United States since. And now with this coming along, I doubly don't want to go back to the United States, even if the land of freedom and honey. But they're launching a pilot program to collect the DNA from people in immigration custody and submit it to the FBI, with plans to expand nationwide. It's a little 1984 for me.
Yeah, I'm not too thrilled with that.
I understand that it's easier. It's more efficient to have a cheek swab than it is to have a 3-inch thick folder on somebody. But when they're starting up here, it's more like, and it's Dax, Jen and I have been covering a lot of stories of the northern border has been increasingly harder for just regular, milquetoast white Canadian citizens to travel down to the United States and getting detained for no good reason.
Sounds about right.
Which is, well, I mean, it's weird because the influx of illegals is actually going north, not going south from us in recent years. And it's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's a double-edged sword because, like I said, I don't want that overreach of government. Like, now they're collecting your DNA. Like, what the fuck is next? Like, collecting all citizens' DNA the moment they're born. But it is an efficient way to keep track of people from coming. People who would be offenders. So maybe that would be a good thing.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
If you are an offender, then they can collect your DNA and put it in a special border control database where they can, we have your DNA on file, do a cheek swab. Well, you know what? You've been denied several times for drug possession while trying to come into the country. So you can fuck off.
Yeah, I think it's another one of those things where they're angling the article just based off of the
It is CBC, but again, I mean, the fact that they're starting it here, and by here I mean the northern part of the United States, it's weird. Because it does say there is a federal law that requires agencies to collect DNA from people they arrest or detain, not from people who are detained without charges. So when you're detained at the border, there's no charges. It's just a detainment, and they have every right to question you as you want to come into their country. Sounds logical.
Yeah.
But to then say, well, we're going to deny you. There were no charges put forth, but we're going to collect your DNA anyway, is a little bit of overreach.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are the types of things that I definitely disagree with the Trump administration.
Yeah,
like these are things that hey, fellow leftists out there, these are the types of things that no problem. These are the types of things that you can attack Trump for that aren't good ideas. Not he grabbed them by the pussy when they let them.
But women are more important than anything else.
And deny the existence of gold diggers.
Yeah. I mean, anybody else like hate the fact they keep doing that when it's been proven that he's not exactly wrong?
He's not.
Like,
He's
they
never
let me do
been
it.
wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're groupies. I mean, they're money grubbing groupies.
Yeah.
It's almost like they don't remember. It's one of those things. Like even going back as far as like say the second Home Alone movie with his appearance. You know, like if I look back at that movie at the time, he was not a bad looking guy for his age. He's never been necessarily a bad looking guy. So you got a guy who's not bad looking. He's got money. He's got power. He's got confidence. Like the guy is oozing with confidence.
Yeah.
I don't doubt he had his grab of pussy everywhere. You know, and
Just look at his wives. Yeah.
You know, and you look at these purse grabbers, and it's just like you act like that's not a thing. Like you don't have that one guy in the media that you're like, oh, he's so hot. You know, it's actually
Well, in the same breath, they'll turn around and be like, "Oh, that Justin Trudeau, he's so dreamy."
Ugh.
It's gross. It's like and I am bringing up a separate topic, but it's kind of similar in my mind. And it's like, do you guys remember that interview with like the Avengers guys with Brie Larson, and she's sitting right next to Chris Hemsworthy and Chris, and then there's the black guy right next to her, and they all look.
Black guy, racist.
Sorry, I don't remember his name.
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle. Sorry.
Sure.
Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
Cheadle. Sorry, Cheadle. I'm sorry. I'm
Cheeto,
bad with
No, don't
names.
apologize to him. He was one of the worst parts of that anti-Trump campaign. So you can go ahead and tell him to fuck off.
Okay, I don't know. I just I
But
don't
his
know.
responses to Brie was just like his rolling of the eyes, and you're just like,
You know
"Oh
what?
my
That's
God."
the first time I felt a connection with him again after that whole fuck Trump thing. I mean, I was just like, oh, dude, you nailed it on the head. Good lad.
But it was the way she was with Chris. Okay, and the thing is like every woman who watched that knew what she was doing, and it's one of those things where part of the reason I think she was so butthurt in that feminist movement thing is because here's this hot guy that she likes who has absolutely no interest in her because he's married, happily
Indeed.
married. He actually looks really happy, and I'm happy for him because
Out of all the people in Hollywood, yeah, he seems okay.
it's one of those things that like females for some reason like and obviously it's not all. We definitely know women online who aren't like that.
Oh, it's
A lot of-
always like that. Don't you lie.
But females for some reason have this thing where like, you know, you can go on and on about how men are so sexist, but she can sit there and be a complete sexist pig because you could sit there and be like, I like and respect this guy, but you can sit there and disrespect him by ignoring the fact that he's happily married.
She'd be proud if she nailed him too.
She would be.
And then turn
Yeah,
around, of
absolutely.
course, claim that he's a pig for even cheating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that makes me mad. That makes me absolutely mad. Like and it's everywhere. Like I said, it's everywhere. Like they're just using Trump as an example because he's an old man. He's no longer attractive. Okay. And that's
Ouch.
disgusting.
Poor Trump.
I'm just saying.
Jenna turning you down, dude.
I'm just saying.
I think one of the things Chris had going for him was that he was a very like almost unknown actor at the time.
Yes.
You know, he
Yeah.
had smaller roles in bigger movies, like he was in Scott Pilgrim and a couple of roles here and there. But then being
That
thrust,
teen movie.
yeah, all these bad movies, just small
That's
roles
so
though.
bad, but it's
so
so good.
he was still grounded when they thrust him into the limelight, and now he's fucking Captain America.
Was.
So he was. Yeah, but I'm talking, like at the time, he's thrust into this sort of like lead pinnacle role. It did well, the Avengers, all that, and he never let it get to him. Unlike some people like Brie Larson, who they're just like, well, we're gonna put you into the biggest, most strongest role, and she's all like, excellent. Now I can get my message out.
Yeah, this is what there's a message I felt from her is like, yes, I deserve this.
Yes, exactly. Why?
Yeah, why?
What have you done?
Because I'm a woman.
The whammon?
And that pissed me off. That pisses me off.
No white
yeah.
guy's allowed to interview me. Fuck off.
It makes me a little weary for the future of the MCU
Mhm.
because
God,
they
I
ended
didn't
it.
think
They
about
ended it perfectly. Like all the solo hero movies, you want to call them. The trilogy was Avengers. Well, the series was the Avengers. Everything else was supplementary. So you take Avengers 2, Endgame, and then the epilogue Infinity War, sorry, and then the epilogue of Endgame, it was a long but complete self-contained story unto itself.
Yep.
And it was a good send-off for a lot of these pinnacle characters. And I don't need anything more. Like, I saw the trailer for Black Widow, and I kind of found my, and dude, I am a massive Marvel fan, Dax, like ever since I was a kid. And I saw Black Widow, I'm just like, meh.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care.
She didn't need her movie.
I mean, I like the actress. I liked the character in all the movies as a supporting role.
Sure.
But I'm like, it's done. It's sort of like, who cares?
I don't.
I think the only other one that I saw was piquing a couple people's interest was the Scarlet Witch, because she ended up being so powerful at that last moment.
Doing a TV show with that?
That's a little rougher. I can see her doing some movies, especially if they found a way to bring like Peter back. I think that'd be a cool concept as to why, you know, her and Doctor Strange end up collaborating. That'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she still has to discover like the limits of her power and everything. And I could even see them doing almost something as small as a throwaway line or something to something as grandiose as like a post-credit scene where she actually opens up a portal and, you know, like Wolverine walks through or something like that. You know,
that's how I thought they should easily merge like the Fox
bridge
into it.
Yeah, bridge the current MCU universe with the X-Men universe and
the good X-Men universe.
Let's have another 10, well, maybe not that long, not 10 years, but let's have a 5-year arc culminating in the Avengers versus X-Men.
That'd be cool.
Culminating in that sort of nanny state versus freedom sort of butting heads.
Mm-hmm.
Like reverberating from their what were the Sokovia Accords.
That'd be a perfect time to introduce a storyline from like Civil War.
Like proper Civil War.
Right.
And have the Superpower Registration Act. And, you know, even add in a little bit of politics. Politics isn't bad. Politics is not bad. But when you're constantly hitting people over the head with it, like you did in what was it? Star Wars, the first #1. Clone War. No, not Clone Wars.
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. That's it. I always forget that name because it's so stupid.
I mean, I get why they called it that.
I do. I'm just saying, like, they in the first film, they were just trying too hard to push political narratives. And it's like, yeah, you can have the politics dancing around in the background, but it should be about your gunslinger, your cowboy characters, your plucky rogues, you know. It doesn't have to be about politics. You can still have that because it's definitely a part of how Palpatine comes to power. But they tried too hard in the first movie. In the second and third, thankfully, they just sort of kind of backed off a little bit from heavy-handed politicking. Oh, man, it's sad when you pine for those movies in the face of current media. Thankfully, we have Jon Favreau, who might be able to save the cinematic world of Star Wars. We'll see. Time will tell. Well, him and Dave Filoni have said, "Well, yeah, we'll take the reins from KKK." Kathleen Cunty Kennedy.
Yeah.
And you know, Jon Favreau can't do no wrong at this point. Even his small little nerd projects like Chef were amazing. He took the MCU from nothing and created an empire unto itself.
He knew how to get Tony Stark into the universe and be believable.
Yeah. Well, he's the kind of guy you want in that role. He's very familiar with the industry, the insides, the networking, all that. He was at the time somewhat established, but more so than anything, he was a fan for as long as he can remember. You know, he loved the Avengers, he loved the X-Men, he loved Spider-Man. And it shows in his orchestrating of these stories and these characters. And it's something you really don't get with X-Men these days. Matthew Vaughn, his First Class, fucking loved that movie. I think that's the best X-Men movie to date, even though it was so far missed the mark on the the history of the characters.
Yeah, that's the only part that bothered me as a purist, but I like the movie.
Yeah. But I definitely think that, you know, if Favreau were to jump into that seat, whether it be Star Wars or X-Men or whatever, he could, you know, piss out some of that magic that he's known for, and we could have good Star Wars again.
Well, step one to fixing the X-Men is get rid of Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, agreed. Fuck her. Why do you need a B-roll villain of Mystique? You know, not a superpower. They're an infiltrator, a spy.
Their power is being
at
able to
this point,
be at
the only
island.
reason they like her is because she's the blue naked chick.
I like Rebecca Romijn's body a hell of a lot better than Jennifer
Oh,
Lawrence.
yeah. And she pulled off Mystique a little bit better.
She was
too.
great.
It was.
I mean, it was a bit-ish
That's
role,
rough.
but she was good.
She's really good. And I also like the makeup job better.
Yep.
And her just, you know, not too many words, very aloof, very professional attitude that Rebecca Romaine brought to the role. Way better than, oh, well, I don't know if I'm good or if I'm bad, if I'm going to choose Charles or if I'm going to choose Eric. Who knows? Come on.
Yeah, I really
like
don't
what-
need to hear that.
I mean, it's that. Luckily, they didn't try to push that aspect too much. They did try to push it, but the romantic level too much, because then we would probably would have got a new, or an older, I should say, Raylo sort of situation. It's like, you want your trashy romance? Go to the fucking grocery store and buy your little fucking tabloid magazines and your novels with Fabio on the front.
No joke.
Stop trying to ruin our shit.
And they like ruining it because they think it's creative.
Yeah.
It's so sad too, because it's not like you can't write romance into Star Wars. It's been done. It's clearly been done
Yeah.
and done well. It's just they go at it like fan fiction writers in the worst way.
Yeah.
Honestly, if they could give Rey the penis and just impregnate Kylo with it, they would have.
Yeah. I mean, they still might. They could clone him and then have a little Force baby.
It really gets me with Star Wars, because even the post canon finger snap by Disney, the novels that were coming out, like Thrawn and
Yeah, Thrawn was
Clone
so good.
Wars, like even Thrawn in Clone Wars was fucking terrifying.
You mean the Rebels?
In Rebels, sorry, yeah, not Clone
He
Wars.
was great. I couldn't
was
even imagine that
so
ending up
terrifying.
better.
How do we get from that to where, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. We can still get good Star Wars. So why is it so hard? Why is it so easy for these people to fuck it up so bad?
You know, and here's the funny part. Where did they pull Thrawn from? The old canon.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do? Mind that shit. When she said, we don't have any good ideas.
books or comics that we can draw on, like Lord of the Rings.
It's like, are you fucking serious?
crazy? Dax, right behind me is about 350 Star Wars novels.
I really need
And
to borrow the
comic
X-Wing
books.
series from you because I never finished it.
The X-Wing. Oh, X-Wing was so good.
I
And
love
what-
the Gentiles because of the X-Wing series.
Yes, because they took a nothing character from the main, you know, plot Skywalker saga, what I would call the R2 and C3PO saga, really, and they just expanded on them.
And it was done so well. And every one of the authors talked to each other. They all knew what was going on. Everyone knew where to tread and where not to tread and where they could experiment.
Yeah, and it worked because, yes, going from one author's novel to another, it might be a little bit jarring at first, just from
A
the
little
difference in
restrictive
style,
maybe too, but
they never broke each other's.
look at Timothy
established
Zahn.
canon.
Look at Kevin Anderson. Those guys alone made that industry in the early so well.
Tim Zahn.
Timothy
Oh my
Zahn,
god! If they
I have a
did
man
Dark
crush on
Force
Tim Zahn.
Rising as a film, as a series, as a like made for TV, like 6-part mega series or something,
They still could just, get rid of all the
my
like Skywalker
God.
stuff.
yes, they still could, and it's better than me and my sages have conjured thousands of Star Destroyers out of our buttholes.
Is that really what happened? Because I have no intention of seeing this movie for any amount of money.
Basically, it's some kind of combination of like the cult of Palpatine and the Imperial Remnant with a little bit of that Dark Force Rising, the missing fleet kind of thing.
Okay.
But
I
it's all one
mean-
throwaway line in the movie that they just said, yeah, me and my loyalists have just conjured these Star Destroyers. Now, yes, literally conjured Star Destroyers, probably not. I think what they were probably referring to, and it's a poor choice of wording on their part, was like he got all the Imperial remnant together, and anyway. It's so bad. I don't care about spoilers anymore. Like, they
No, by all
equipped
means,
the
spoil it for me. I don't
entire
care.
fleet with Death Star lasers.
Are you serious? How does that even work?
I don't know, but that's what they say. And then, like, Poe, like, one of the only good characters in the entire
I
fucking
like Poe.
series is just
I
like
do.
they treat him so like such shit. He turns around and goes, "They all have planet-killing weapons? Great. Typical." I'm just like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. A little stupid, but funny.
Yeah, because he's poking fun at the fact that it's just so insane at this point that they're just trying to one up each other with. Even in the EU, like the big super weapons,
Darksaber
weren't necessarily the biggest of structures. Exactly, like the Starforge was. But what was the little, like, almost shuttle pod size thing that could destroy stars?
Oh, that's like that man torpedo thing, right?
Yeah. You're a man torpedo. Like, you're basically in this little shuttle pod. You get shot into a sun. It explodes the sun, thus destroying the entire system.
Right.
But you're okay in the pod, and you can survive and do it again. And Ben Solo is actually almost destroyed the Imperial remnant by taking them to task with that thing. Oh, so hilarious.
And okay, good. This is what we're talking about, how good the characters were in it. We're talking about Ben Solo, and I hear the fondness in your voice.
Yeah.
Can you say the same thing about the new Ben Solo?
No.
Not at all.
Oh my god. And I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Adam Driver.
He's not terrible. I'll give him a pass.
That's the thing. He's not terrible, but in that he was, and that just goes to like solidify that it's bad directing, it's bad writing.
Oh yeah, we were talking about it before you woke up. I believe that it sounds completely like fan fiction. That's just garbage.
Yeah. Because everything was about those two characters, and it's like not everything was about Luke and Leia.
No.
There was things about Leia and Han. There were things about Luke and Chewie. Like, there's these intermingling relationships. It's not no one character. Han was not a bigger character than Luke, and vice versa. They were on equal footing. Even Leia, even Chewie. It was this ensemble of great characters that, yes,
even the droids had stars to shine.
Oh my god! And in the new one, oh my god! So
yeah, what happens with C-3PO? Can you give that one to me?
C-3PO reads some Sith writing and can translate it. He understands the ancient Sith language, but can't tell them. Yeah, first of all, how? Second of all, glossing over that. Second of all, his programming doesn't allow him to translate Sith for people.
Why?
Like, what? Okay, so they have to wipe his memory so that he can translate it. But if you wipe his memory, how is he going to translate it if he doesn't have the memories of the programming of how to translate?
Maybe
these
he can isolate that in the back somewhere. I mean, they're advanced computers, but that's not the point. When would he have gotten programmed with Sith?
I don't know.
But you can't say Darth Vader did it.
All that, whatever, But he's a coward. He's always been the cowardly, partial comic relief. He's R2's sidekick who's always like, no, we should run. We should save our own butts. Let's not.
Really bad idea, R2. Let's go this way.
But in this, they gave him his crescendo, like, I'm going to save myself for everyone. That's not C-3PO.
He'd ask constantly, isn't there another solution? Isn't there another solution? And inevitably, they would have to force him to do it.
Yes, because even Lucas was like, no, he's a coward. That's how I want him to be. He's the archetypal coward. He's scared of everything. He'd be scared of his own shadow.
Probably was.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I
even
think
R2
you said that last time, Noof. Well, tell your coworker I said hi. I just came back for the record. Sorry to interrupt.
No. I mean, technically, it's your stream, but we just
devolved
control
back
it, so,
into
yeah.
Star
It
Wars.
was like 3 hours in. I'm like, you know what? If Bloodwing could hold his for like 3 hours, I think he would just blow people's minds.
Look, you
So-
just realized you put 2 Star Wars nerds from the old canon into a room together. You made your own problem. I'm not apologizing.
Oh, I did that on purpose. I was like, well, you know what? Just in
Yeah,
case,
just what I
I'll
was saying earlier.
and like I said, it's relevant stuff. I wouldn't know a lot of this stuff because like I'm the casual fan. I'm the person that like you go and bring into a movie, and for the most part I will enjoy it, but I refuse to watch the new stuff because like everything I've seen right
Because
now,
you know it'll break my heart and you like me too much for that.
well, there's that, and there's the fact that everything that I've seen doesn't resemble anything with what the original or even the stuff that came like right afterwards.
They never
like,
captured that magic that the original
No.
had. Yeah.
yeah,
Even the
absolutely.
prequels have their place.
Yeah.
You know, and that was just it. It was just like even as someone who's not a hardcore fan, seeing that, I didn't want to
Well,
support that.
There's a big reason why people like myself and Dax are such like super fans for the EU is because there was a little bit of schlock, but for the most part it was solid. Like not. We were just talking about one series where the X-Wing series with Wedge Antilles,
I'm
where
serious.
the
You got to
writers,
find a way to give me those books.
the writers talked to each other about what the next writer was writing about, so they didn't break anything, Jen. And that was an overarching theme between all the books.
Yeah.
Like if there was a new writer who wanted to use, let's just say Thrawn for an example, he would call up Timothy Zahn and be like, okay, I want to do this. And they would have a confab about what that new writer wants to do with it. And, the original writer would be like, that sounds like a great idea, but maybe not do this because I think that would interfere with his character growth. And it would, there's a reason why we're such super fans for this stuff, because it was good. And if they just simply, they could just translate it to screen. Like Dax, correct me if I'm wrong, but
bring it on.
Game of Thrones.
Sure.
The book series, not really my style, but
It's slow.
The translation that D.B. Weiss and David Benioff put to screen was genius up until the end, when they had no source material to pull on.
I'm gonna pretend like the last season didn't actually get a completion.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna pretend it got Fireflied.
But if you got a team like those two who have proven that they can take the written material and translate it really well to screen, even though they took their liberties with it at times,
You had to.
do that with Star Wars to revitalize it. Let's start going back through some of the canon. Let's get a Thrawn movie.
Oh God, that'd be so good.
I mean, dude, oh my God, Rebels is coming back or Clone Wars is coming back for season 7, and I think they're gonna bring in Thrawn. Oh my God,
I'm so giddy. I want to see how Thrawn and Grand Moff Tarkin get along.
Yes,
God, that'd be fun putting them in the same room together.
Because then you could have that whole ascension of him as just a fleet admiral to Grand Moff.
Oh my God, I'm geeking out.
Oh man, I'm getting a little bit of a chub.
And that's the other reason why I haven't been supporting the new movies. It's because they're ignoring the fact that you guys are clearly talking about something that you love.
Yeah.
And that,
so why not start listening to people who love
a
it?
nerd, for things that I like as a nerd, I have to respect that for other nerds. Like it's probably not something that a lot of people believe in. This is just my own personal take on it. But I've always been of the belief that, like, as a fellow nerd, that you should respect that love for the franchise that you like.
Well, I mean, that's why Solo was kind of a decent.
It was okay.
Solo was okay. Rogue One was actually the best of the new breed because, well, first of all, it had really not a whole lot of direct.
It couldn't affect the story.
I didn't see that one in the theaters.
Well,
but
because
I did watch it with.
My point is, Jen, is that they just took characters out of the universe, and yes, they were tangentially related to the main story, but it was mostly just a story about them. Sort of like why Mandalorian is so good. The Mandalorian is so good. It's just about these characters that aren't, the Skywalker family and Jedis, and you can take these stories like X-Wing, like Wedge Antilles, and put them out into film, and people will love it because it's so good.
You can still do that, thank God.
You know that big guy with the beard. He's in like every JJ movie and TV show ever.
Oh yeah.
That's apparently Wedge's son.
So I heard.
And I'm like,
but they spent the time to establish that. Why are we not going with it?
They kill him in the new movie.
Did they fucking really?
And he goes out like such a bitch.
God damn it!
He's getting chased by like 2 TIE fighters, and they just take him to task, and it's just like, oh. Really?
So they Akbar'd him.
They Akbar'd him, yeah.
Son of a bitch.
And it's oh god.
I liked him as a side character. I was actually getting into a little bit of his history. I'm like, cool. The Antilles continue on. No,
just fucking killed. Okay, now I will admit there were 2 points where I did get emotional. One obviously revolved around Leia, and not the corniness. If anybody's seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Not the corniness about it, but her portrayal of Leia. Mm-hmm. Even though it's not really her, it's partial CGI, partial old footage of her.
Sure.
It was still really it pulled on the heartstrings a little bit. But at the end, you get that bringing together of everybody left in the rebel side of things. So a complete just like swarm of ships of all different types, from fighters to freighters and big capital ships, like this big ragtag but fleet warps, drops out of hyperspace, and I was just like,
my question is, where were they in the second movie? You're
exactly.
Really going to let the first order do that?
But that scene just evoked the images of, do you remember in the 3rd book of the Dark Force Rising trilogy where they warp in and they literally get their asses handed to them by the Dark Fleet?
Yeah.
And the only thing that stopped them was Ruck stabbing Thrawn through the chest.
Yeah, if Thrawn hadn't gone down there and then it was done for the...
It was done. It was completely done.
Republic.
And that is how you do that smart sort of infiltrator like they did in Jedi, that one lone or small lone sort of idea. It didn't really rely on the person, but the idea of freedom that permeated throughout Ruck's race through Leia that actually ended up winning the war. It's that putting of the idea into Vader's head from Luke that you are never too far gone that saved the day. It's not the big fleet battles. It's not riding horses along a Star Destroyer in space. Like, what?
That was my point on why I thought the whole thing was stupid when it was like, Luke, oh, he's going to go attack Kylo in his sleep. Are you fucking retarded?
That's not Luke.
That's not, and that's why Mark Hamill was so fucking pissed off.
None of those movies portrayed Luke as Luke. He was this new character.
He was a cadre old man who gave up. When did Luke fucking Skywalker ever give up on anything?
He was by himself in the sights of Darth Vader, nowhere close to the exhaust port in New Hope to save the day. But he would not disengage because he was either going to finish his mission or he was going to die trying. Because that was the hope that he clung to. And you completely ruin a quintessential character.
You can see how depressed he was in every interview.
Oh yeah. Just look at it in his eyes. You could see both the hate and his heart breaking. Because he still is. He was a super fan even while making the movies. After A New Hope, and he found that sort of stardom, he was still way into Star Wars. He's even said he's read the comic books.
Yep.
He's read books.
He's actually been an influencer on that. They called him and it's like, what do you think Luke would do? And Mark would give his opinion, and it would get into the fucking books.
Yeah. The whole thing with him and Mara Jade at the end, that was all Mark Hamill's influence of saying, well, I think that they should eventually come together. Because that is Luke. Luke is the one who he doesn't have to rely on violence to save the day.
He's a fixer.
Yeah, exactly. He's a fixer. Oh man, Star Wars. I'm
gonna go to the Half Price book right now. Somebody come pick me up before it closes, and I gotta pick up a bunch of books. Like Courtship of Princess Leia was actually a hidden treasure.
That was really good. Oh, good. That was. I mean, and if we want to talk about like romancy schlock. It was
schlock, but it was good schlock.
Yeah, it was good. It was, Han and her still being in love, but having the pirate prince sort of introduced, who was a little bit more suave and debonair than Han. And there was the whole political thing that, like, if they could bring their two houses together, so to speak,
the New Republic would be that much stronger.
Yeah, but she's still like, at the end of the day, clung to her Princess Leia morals of, well, that would just be immoral if I'm hurting someone for political gain and myself.
Besides, I like my nerf herder.
Yeah. Who doesn't like the plucky rogue? And that's
so good.
I mean, that's one of the problems, and also one of the things I liked about Poe. Yes, he was the plucky rogue, but he was also the superstar fighter pilot. Like, he was basically Luke without the Force.
That's what I mean, though. When I was saying, I don't know how far along you came into now that I can't remember. Now that we're into it anyway, it doesn't matter. They set up that all three of the primary characters could have been Force users, and I would not have been surprised. I would have been grateful.
Apparently, part of the there's a running thing that never gets resolved in the new one where Finn, John Boyega, he keeps saying to Daisy Ridley's character Rey that, I got to tell you something, but it's got to be in private. It's got to be, like, I can't tell anybody else. Like, I gotta know your opinion on this. And the whole aftermath with the media, it came out that they wanted to make him a Force user.
He should have been.
Yeah, he should have shown some proficiency, and that could have kind of explained why he could pick up a lightsaber.
That's what I said earlier when you were here. Yeah.
Yeah. And be intuitive, because remember what happened to Luke. He wasn't a Force user, but he was intuitive. He knew things without even knowing how he knew them. That was sort of the influence of the Force.
And I can get behind that.
Without training, that's where he would sort of be for the rest of his life. Now, Ma Rae Su just comes in and is an expert at every Jedi technique. Then why the hell did you even have...
There's no struggle there. What was the point?
Jedi Academy, and there's no struggle. There's no character flaws. There's no hurdles for her to overcome to be stronger. You just are strong. They try to shoehorn that in here in the new movie because there was a training course on the Rebel planet. Like, that's it? So that's going to teach her how to be able to defeat a trained Jedi Knight like Kylo Ren, or... oh, man, it's just... it's so bad.
They just fucked up. They had a good thing going for him with The Force Awakens, at least a decent thing going, and they fucked it up.
And, I mean...
They did.
Sorry. If they put...
Excuse me.
No problem. I mean, we're sort of,
you're allowed to have
relegating
here, okay?
you and Pete to the corner because Star Wars. But if they did a series, and it would have to at least be six movies long of Dark Force Rising, if they wanted to include all the pertinent information. They could trim some here and there and bring it down to 3 or 4 or whatever. But even if they made it a made for Netflix or Disney Plus, I guess, or TV. Well, no, it would be Disney Plus, a series like Mandalorian, but like each episode's like an hour long. So more Game of Thronesy style. They could do Dark Force Rising. They could do the whole thing with Palpatine and his clones. Because remember, Jorah Sabaoth,
I was going to say,
isn't Palpatine, but he's still a Jedi Master that is corrupted by Palpatine's teachings. Do all that, brush it aside, and then go right into the Yuuzhan Vong War.
I'm a mixed feelings about the Yuuzhan Vong. I'm not a huge fan. I'll be perfectly transparent.
Well, there was just so much of it, but the idea is there that this is why Palpatine did what he did.
Yeah.
This is why he was developing the technologies he was developing, because the Death Star is the perfect counter to a world ship.
Yeah.
Like, boom, it drops out of hyperspace, boom, it's dead. Not even a Dovin Basal could absorb that much energy.
Right. That's the one thing I'll give them credit for, is that they gave reason why the Tyrant did what he did to an extent. I mean, it's still Palpatine. He still wanted power regardless. I mean, he's Sith. But...
yeah, sure. It's not taking anything away from the original, but it's adding on to with new stuff.
Sure.
And they could take... I mean, because there was just way too much in the Yuuzhan Vong War, like that's a 50-book series unto itself.
Yeah, that's probably why I wasn't a super thrilled.
40
and they
different
killed
writers.
fucking Chewbacca right away.
Well, that was the thing. Like
I know you had to have,
you had to have a loss.
I got it. Fine.
Sure.
We still had Lobach as a Jedi, mind you, and that's awesome.
Yeah, Jedi Wookiee. Oh, my God.
So good.
And the
I fucking
Jedi-
love the Young Jedi Knight series, by the way. I'm a geek for that one.
Yeah, they were really good, especially that one guy that was in the spice mines of Kessel that was rescued by Han and was sort of like a surrogate adopted son.
Yeah.
And he was emo Ren.
Yeah.
Like he was very emo, he was very frustrated, but he was still at the end of the day a good guy.
Like I loved the backstory of Anjo Galandra or whatever her name was. She was great.
Oh,
Not a Force user, but used spice just to keep up with Jedi, and the fact that she could do it.
Yeah.
Shio wants to know when are we going to get some Jedi Ewoks? That would be fucking amazing.
They are perfectly capable of being Ewoks. They had magic users, which essentially is Force use.
Force users, yeah. Just like the Night Sisters.
I was going to mention them before. Okay,
magic.
Okay, I gotta ask, how do you feel about how they changed Dathomir in its history compared to the old canon to new canon?
I think it was a good enough adaptation for their ends. They could have just used something completely new.
I think they should have. There was no reason to change.
Yeah,
they didn't have to change Darth Maul from being an Iridonian to something else. That was unnecessary. Just saying.
A Zabrak, a Knight brother Zabrak or whatever.
Yeah.
I did like the story between him and oh my God, that final scene between him and Obi-Wan.
Oh my God. This is when they do stuff right. Why were they not listening to people when they're like, that is how that should have ended?
When
Shio, I have to disagree with you because the Ewoks were glorified Care Bears that ate people. That makes them awesome.
They literally ate stormtroopers.
They ate people. Like, can you really have a picture? Like,
Dax, with Yuzon Bong, there's so many liberties that they could take. I'm just saying that idea of like an extra galactic threat coming in, sort of making a big bad guy for the New Republic to have to handle, but also have to come to terms with the Imperial Remnant, other factions like the Hutt Cartel.
That's how they should have done Snoke, though. He should have been that new threat.
Yes, that made even the pirates and the New Republic basically seem eye to eye. The Hutt Cartel, they get on board. The Twin Sons, they all get on. The remnants of the Mandalorians, they all come together as the rebellion, because that's what the rebellion was always about. It was a mishmash of not only humans but other races, because the Imperials treated non-humans like absolute garbage,
which they seem to forget about when when it's convenient.
Yeah. And oh my god, I would say probably about 85 to 90% of the stormtrooper voices were female.
Were they?
Yeah, and it really bothered me. Not because female, but because there's a lore and a reason why the majority of stormtroopers were male.
Yeah.
A lot of them were descendants of the clones in the early years of the Empire. Mm-hmm. But not only that, is that the Empire would have taken the strongest and the best of children and put them through these basic training and brainwashing techniques to be stormtroopers. I hate to
tell you, but when you're younger, men are stronger automatically.
And more easy to suggestion.
Yeah. They want to make their daddies proud.
Yeah, it's way easier to program a very young boy to believe things than it is for women, to an extent. I mean, violence is something that comes fairly natural to men. Something that Monkey has actually been really recently talking about is the restraint that men show in the face of the fact that we know that we are on average a stronger part of the species, and that when a woman's coming at you swinging her fists, yeah, you do your best to try to get away from it, but there's a point where you just put your foot down and punch a bitch and knock her the fuck out, because that's the only way that this is going to de-escalate. Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, stormtroopers, yeah, it really bugged me, and I watched it once by myself. And then I had to watch it a second time because Elwyn, my lady, she needed to watch it because she's also a Star Wars mega fan. Dax, I found one.
You lucky.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't care at all.
She owns like fucking 12 lightsabers. Like we're talking Force Effects lightsabers, like pretty decent ones, and like she's always down for me going, you want to watch some Star Wars? Like,
All right, challenge. Elle, you have 30 seconds to list all the saber forms.
oh God.
I said Elle. You're not allowed to help.
I
Once she
don't even
doesn't
know.
once she doesn't list them, then you can go ahead and list them. You should know quite a few of them. I'll even accept 4 out of 7.
If I had the list in front of me, I could list them like in order of their number, but like I don't really remember them.
Oh,
I know it was like Junyo. I know like Obi-Wan was a master in Form 2, which was
Akashi.
Was it Akashi?
There's Shicho, Makashi. See,
Shicho.
I'm already ready. Shicho, Makashi, Saresu, however you pronounce it.
Suretsu, yeah.
Ataru, Shien, and Jemso, Nimon, and Juyo or Vapad, depending on what side you were.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all 7.
The nerdiness just got real, ladies.
When it comes to lightsabers and the tech, I used to know a ton of that shit.
Yeah, I do mostly because of the Old Republic.
The Old Republic is amazing. Another good example of somebody who listened to what was already established, but then made a story that you could easily see leading into the events.
Hello there.
Yeah.
Ew.
General Kenobi.
Oh man, I've had people give me such guff about Ewan McGregor as a younger Kenobi, and I'm just like, no,
I like him.
Perfect.
He's
because
perfect.
he added that little bit of snark that Alec Guinness gave the old character. So
Yeah.
to have that come through, but he's still a professional at the end of the day. I mean, hell, he brings Anakin to heel.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still a professional at the end of the day, and just to have that that sort of retort, that quick response, really good. I can't wait for this is why the TV show has me a little bit more optimistic than most. Like Dax, I work on a scale of optimism, not whether or not I'm excited for something or not, but whether I'm optimistic that it's going to not suck or pessimistic enough that it's going to just absolutely bomb. It's sad, but it's true.
All right, we kind of ruined that one, Elle. If you can tell me what each one of the forms does, I will give you 3 minutes to do that, and no looking up online. I'll know if you cheated.
Well, I remember Vapad was the technique that Mace.
She's got
used,
one.
and it was using the aggression of what I would call the gray, but controlled aggression to fuel power through the Force.
He could have been the best gray Jedi ever.
Oh, dude! Now, if you want to bring somebody back from a kind of overt dramatic death, bring back a beaten, broken down Mace Windu.
I just thought of
survives
something.
the fall, and he's broken down, and he becomes that gray hermit. He becomes that Jolie Bindo character,
or he starts training anti-imperial, like essentially anti-inquisitors.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna
Sorry,
go ahead and go to bed. It's like 25-3 for me.
Oh, have a good night, man. Sorry about the hyper geeking on Star Wars.
I'm not sorry at
It's
all.
all right. Don't worry about it. You enjoy the rest of your stream, guys, and thanks for asking me to come on, Jan. And Dax, it was nice
Always a
talking
pleasure.
to you, man.
Oh yeah, just, text me, whatever.
I will do. And functionally, it's always fun talking to you, mate.
Of course. You too. Have a good night.
See you guys.
Let us.
Mate.
Where were we?
We were talking about Mace
Star
Windu
Wars.
possibly forming
Yes.
anti-inquisitors, which I think would be amazing.
Anti-Inquisitors, yeah, because they wouldn't be as, they wouldn't be Jedi. They wouldn't be out there to keep the peace or whatever. They'd be literally just out there to keep the balance of the Force and make sure that these crazy Sith that are running rampant are defeated. Because they're way outbalancing the Force. They're hunting down even Force-sensitive children and killing them if they can't convert them.
Yeah,
that's one thing oh man, the new game just really disappointed me.
Hi, Peter.
Well, where have you been?
I went to go grab my pizza.
Oh,
All right then.
That's what the new game kind of where it sort of lacked for me.
I haven't beat it yet. I'm at the point, basically
noticed.
the point where I just got the like the final saber, if you want to call it that.
Oh, okay.
Like he can now channel the Force in a dual swinging.
Oh, so you have the dual lightsaber combo.
I think I just got off
saber.
Ilum and I went back to Dathomir and I could progress, but I'm trying to get all the goddamn like extra shit first.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, you're basically good. I love that when you can interchange the dual saber with the single saber combos. Like,
yes,
so good. The combat, I really like the combat.
It's really Dark Soulsy, which kind of throws me off a little bit. But as far as the Star Wars game goes, you could say it's because he's a Padawan that he can't just shred everybody, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. He gets stronger.
Sure.
I just didn't really like the story. Didn't resonate as much for me as most Star Wars things did. Like if they took it more of the route of the Old Republic in its storytelling and in its RPG elements, I'd be way more down to it. But as far as like your progression, it's just like, oh, click on this and you just get more HP or more force power, or you can do this with your skill. Like, yeah, it's that very sort of Dark Soulsy tree of just, I don't know. I would have liked the option to be able to throw some force lightning or a force choke, or more into force push pull. I understand that, like you said, he's a Padawan. Yeah. He doesn't really have a master. He's not really learning these things. But you're out in the galaxy actually learning things, and eventually, spoiler, you do kind of get a new master.
Yeah, I don't understand why throughout she couldn't teach him more.
Yeah, or at least point him in directions to become a better Jedi, because he would need these skills to eventually confront Vader.
She could tell him how to do it without actually tapping into the Force. It's not like you forget the words, or you shouldn't anyway. She was at least a knight at some point.
The philosophy, because each skill technique of the Jedi is more a state of mind than an actual power. You're not teaching someone, oh, just push something. You're teaching them how to rewire a, more, for lack of a better word, a normal brain into channeling the Force to push, not pushing something.
Right.
It's a frame of mind that the Force around the object is moving, not the, again, relating back to whole EU type stuff about Jedi-ness, not metachlorians.
Right.
But as bad as that was, I could look past metachlorians.
Yeah, I can get past that.
So Elwyn had more. So
she listed a couple. I will go into a little bit of detail here because I can, because I'm that much of a nerd. Shicho was a fallback stance that you did learn right away, but it wasn't because it's necessarily the easiest, but because it's more defensive. It's designed to be more of a deflection type thing. It's like, oh, I'm being swung at. Here's what I need to do to stop being swung at. Whereas something like, we'll just go over briefly, I'm not going to go too deep in this. Makashi is basically lightsaber versus lightsaber. It's what happened when the Dark Jedi showed up and the Jedi were like, oh shit, what do we do? And they realized, oh yeah, we can fight like this because we have all the grace in the world and all the flying stuff. We can do this. That's what Dooku was good at, was at Makashi. Sarisu was basically anti-blasters. It's pretty much what you learned to fight in the Clone Wars because you're getting shot at constantly.
Yeah.
And it's very defensive in its nature. That's why Obi-Wan was a master of it, because he would have been probably a very, very good Ataru user, because that's what he was like learning, and that's what he was doing good when he was fighting Maul. But when he realized that, oh shit, my master got murdered, I almost got murdered, I got lucky. Well, the Force helped me, because he's not going to say luck doesn't exist. He switched from Ataru to Sarisu, and he became the master of Sarisu, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Ataru it's the aggressive form. It's good using speed and like strength and all the good stuff. Form 4. It's Form 4. I'm doing them all in order if I can remember them in the right order. Hopefully I do.
Well, I remember which number goes which one. It was slipping my mind of what the names of the actual forms were.
No, it's all good. But see, it's not something that novices use, because it's something that you have to be connected to the Force and be really good at. That's why Yoda's a really good Ataru user, and so is Qui-Gon Jinn. Because you got to use that index.
Were, yeah.
Yeah, Sentinel. Oh my god, I love Sentinel. I could talk about the lightsaber colors too, but I fear we're going to drag on too much with Star Wars. So
Yeah.
I'm going to finish up the forums, and we'll let Jen tell us what we need to do to shut up.
Yeah.
No, you guys finish up. It's like I think once you guys are done, I might call it because I'm really hungry and
Well, we've only got 3 more left.
yes, you're good. Take your time. I'm not rushing you guys. It's just like once we're done, I'm just sitting here staring at my pizza. So
It sounds delicious because I have to go make grilled cheese, but that's good too. Anyway,
yes, it is.
Then 4-5 is Xian and Jimso. It's not really a defensive stance in the sense that I'm going to block everything. It's a defensive stance in I'm going to create an opening. And so you can kind of it's like a riposte stance. Like every time you block with it, it's supposed to go into another move that you can use to smack somebody. But it's an aggressive way of doing things because, again, it's meant to counterattack. You're there to knock a saber away, cut off a hand, and the Jedi tend not to like that because it's aggressive and they don't want you to do that.
Always for defense, never for attack. Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah.
Not in the face of an Inquisitor.
Not going to happen. But it also it doesn't need as much showy moves. It's literally just what you need to do to get the job done. So it'd be somebody with a very large saber. Like Savage Press should have mastered Xian, and he would have been ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, that would have been bad.
Wasn't that the one that Grievous was primarily... I know he was proficient in all the forms.
Right, because that's what Duke taught him. But yeah, he was supposed to be one of the Gemstone Masters who weren't Jedi or Sith.
Yeah. Because he needed it to be able to counter any... Anyway.
Just because you have a big spinning blade in each hand doesn't mean you're going to be able to get the hits in. Yeah, he had to be a quick thinker too. Most people give him less credit, but you got people need to watch the Clone Wars series to actually appreciate Grievous.
Yes.
They threw him in there he was just Chuck, and I hated it. But yeah. Then we got Nimon. Also, the Way of the Rancor, if I remember what it's called. It's basically a merger of most of the other stuff. It didn't have any real particular weakness, but it's not really a powerhouse in anything. It's a jack of all trades form. It's like what you do when you want to jump over something, force push it, then turn around and connect it to the lightsaber blade while deflecting a bolt back at a stormtrooper took a shot at you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to defeat everybody at this in one instantaneous moment, but you have enough to defend and go on the aggressive side without having to give up to any of that. But that leads us to Juyo or Vapad, depending on how you want to call it. And this is Master Windu's favorite form, and it's awesome. And which is why I could never be a Jedi. I'd probably be a Grey Jedi. It's the most aggressive, and only the people highly sensitive to the Force and have kind of not necessarily mastered, but gotten as close as you're going to get to mastering being able to teeter on that edge of that dark side. Are you going to be
without getting seduced by it? Yeah,
right. And it's theorized that if Palpatine and him had kept fighting, Palpatine would have lost in a straight up duel.
Yeah.
But Palpatine had better timing. He knew Anakin was on his way. All that other bullshit. But we're gonna go away from the serendipitous nature that is required in writing to explain that basically you're using whatever force that the other guy's presenting to you and turning it into your own power. And it's really basically
like an emotional vampire.
Right. That's essentially what it is. You're an emotional vampire. It's really not a Jedi thing, to be perfectly honest. That's why Windu was one of the only practitioners. It was him and Darth Maul actually were both practitioners of Vapad.
Wasn't Pong Krell?
General Krell? Yeah, he was getting there, but since he had fallen, it was hard for him to be able to focus like that. He had great focus outside of it, but when he got provoked, he would lose it. That's why he would never become a master of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Elwyn is demanding her brownie points, by the way.
You get half a cupcake.
Oh, now I have to make her cupcakes, Dax. God damn it! What are you doing to me?
Well, I mean, would you rather spend time making a brownie, or would you rather just shove some mix into a cup and then cook it?
You got a point.
Yeah.
They do have to cool and cut them. Yeah.
Yeah, brownies are nice and all, but they take much more time. Anyway, yeah, that's the lightsaber
seven forms.
So
Yay.
I wasn't sure what else I should do.
I studied Aikido and a couple of like Eastern European like broadsword fighting styles. So that's how I tend to use my lightsabers when I fight with them. So very oh god, what was Form 4? I guess would be closest to that.
I suppose.
I mean, they're really not. I mean, it's not something you want to use a lightsaber, like a style of fighting you want to use a lightsaber for.
It all depends on what style of weapon you're using. If you're using like European broadswords, I would assume you're more likely to use something like a Makashi.
Yeah, heavy swings and try to parry and
make sure your footwork's good. That's basically Makashi, is make sure you don't fuck up on the footwork.
But just waiting for that one opportunity to get that single strike in really doesn't work too well with lightsabers, because if somebody's coming at you and you're not ready to parry, you're like, obviously with Aikido, your hands are way above your head as you close the distance. It leaves yourself too open. It's a terrible fighting form for anything outside of Aikido. Anyway.
Yeah, I like Aikido, but I like my bastardized version of like Aikido and Kendo.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I practice with katanas. I practice with joust swords. They call the gentleman's swords, the ones you could wear all day because they weigh like next to nothing in Chinese culture.
Yeah.
And naginatas. Like I practice those ones primarily. And I find that if I'm like thinking of Star Wars, I always go to the Zhao. It's a light blade. You're going to be able to cut left, right, easy. You can't cut all directions, but it's close.
Okay, so have you finished The Mandalorian, right?
No, but I don't mind a spoil because I'm going to watch it anyway.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to, it's a spoiler, so if anybody just doesn't want to know what happens in the last episode, but it's not really a spoiler.
There's a season 2. I kind of figured that would show up. It had to show up.
Oh my god! Oh!
So that's the question, though. How does whatever the fuck her name is, the graffiti artist, can't remember her name. Pink Mandalorian.
Yeah.
How does she lose the blade? Or does she not? And they just hide it.
It does. I mean, that's Rebels. That's pre-Imperial War,
right?
Galactic Empire, and this is 5 years after the fall of the Empire,
which I think is a good place to take it.
Yeah. But I mean, the implications. Yes, it's all about the Mandalorian. They could keep with the lone wolf and cub, lone gunslinger kind of feel to the show, but they could also expand a little bit into the broader mythos of Mandalore and all that, and play off of what came before with Clone Wars. Rebels, and the history of the Darksaber. It's just, oh my god, it looks so good in live action. Like, oh my god. Oh my god!
Why does it marry a Sue get the Darksaber? Well, they thought about it with her. Like, I remember that was a rumor that they thought about.
They wanted to give her a unique lightsaber color.
Like, because Sam Jackson got one.
Yeah, because well, apparently Leia is like this big Jedi master in this. Just like, okay.
Yeah, so I'd say give me an explanation, but we are running long.
The movie is just scene. So by the time you're 2 scenes ahead, while you're still thinking 2 scenes behind, going, that didn't make any sense. Oh, but I got to pay attention to this. So it's just move. And one scene is a training scene between CGI Luke and CGI Leia, and she kicked she
knocked him down. I saw that on Twitter.
And I'm like, okay, sure, I guess that could happen, but like, we never hear anything else about Leia's training except for her Mary Poppins move, and then all of a sudden she's she's been a trained Jedi this entire time by Luke.
Bullshit.
Like, what? Anyway,
that's not even true in the old canon.
No. She always kept saying, "Oh, she's dealing with her stuff, her wheelhouse, politics, and all those wheelings and dealings." She always mised about, "Oh, I got to train more with my saber. I got to learn more about the force." She never had time for it.
She also didn't want to be her father at all.
Yeah, she
struggled with that. But yeah, that's another thing we can get into. But
no worries. All right, guys. I think I am gonna call it quits though, because all I'm thinking about right now is food because I haven't eaten all day, and my brother was nice enough to leave me 2 slices of my pizza. Which
how dare you want to leave us in the middle of a conversation?
I know, right? But I will be picking up again tomorrow, so we will do another stream. I usually start around 3 my time, which is 5 p.m. Eastern. If you guys want to shill your stuff, I haven't seen you on the Monkey in the morning, but that's not because you haven't been there. I haven't been awake because for some reason my body went into granny mode last week.
I've been on there twice in the last 2 months because I usually go to sleep around 10 my time. So
yeah, ever since you got that job.
Oh, that job.
You can't stream all night like Monkey did. Oh my! How long was he did a pre-Lords of the Night stream, then he did Lords of the Night, then he did a game stream, then he did a Monkey in the morning, followed by Alex in the AM. Like it's like fucking 14 hours straight of streaming. The guy's a madman.
Somebody gotta get Lady Monkey a leash for him, you know.
I keep trying to get her to hit him more often, and it works like 15% of the time.
Oh, it was hilarious when Sinatra just outright stole his nipple twisting gimmick. Oh, because you could hear Shelly. She was just taking so much time, just sheer pleasure in doing that to him. It was great.
We got to get him a new cock song though, like the horse cock. I mean, I appreciated it, but it needs a new version.
He can't have any of my theme songs.
No, I'll keep an eye out for something that's hopefully horrible enough that.
How dare you!
Hey, Skittles.
So
Other
where?
Skittles. Yeah. So, yeah, show yourself. I mean, I know Functional is doing his thing on Saturday because we do the Canadian version on his show on his channel on Saturday. But you're playing. What was the game that you said? It was like
RimWorld.
RimWorld.
Rim job.
Where I spent like 14 hours last night playing. It was good because Monkey was always streaming. I never had to change the stream. Yeah, Elwin's got the link to my channel, and yeah. Nothing really new to shill. Haven't really been doing much of anything.
Okay. Well, I hope work's been going well for you though, Dax. Like it's better to have a real job. Let's be real. Like if both Functional and I could get that on the go on our own, we probably would be. I mean, his situation's different from mine. Mine's more just like I could go at work if I could get a job.
Yeah, I'm a dirty do nothing cripple.
But
well, Mr. Misanthropic, if you want to hear some Star Wars talk, you're gonna have to wait for this thing to render. But the last 2 hours?
2 hours.
Yeah,
just straight
pretty
Star
much
Wars
been
talk
like...
between me and Dax, while Jen and Peter Allman just kind of sit in the corner, going, "Yeah, okay, this is cool."
Yeah. Before that, we talked a little bit about Star Wars, but when he showed up, that's when we destroyed the channels.
It's just amazing how if anyone brings something up, I can just start at length going off on a bajillion different things about Star Wars, X-Men, Marvel, DC.
This is why we're friends.
Yeah, you missed the Star Wars. I mean, we could do that again at another time. Like I said, I didn't mind bringing it up because it was very relevant. Like it's
Dude, we can do a Star Wars book club.
That would be funny.
I have to find the
Absolutely.
books though and like pre-order them because I'd be all on board that.
Yeah. I have most of the relevant ones, but
It'd be a different take on a book club.
I really need to reread the Thrawn trilogy now.
See, that's a thing. But should we start with something like Shadows of the Empire?
Oh.
All right.
On that note, I think I'm going to
something-
play us out.
Well, I didn't really start it, but I at least got the thought in your head. So that's me using my force.
Jen, you are the thought in my head.
I know, right?
I will show real quick, because it's not just me, it's a couple of other lovely YouTubers. On Saturdays at 4 p.m. Central, so 5 p.m. Central, or not Central Time, Eastern Time, because that's where everyone seems to think the time revolves around. We talk about, ironically, we talk about Star Trek, the opposite side of the nerd world.
Of the force.
Yeah, no, it's a dark
Two
side
sides of the
Force.
same coin.
They are two sides of the same coin. I can't understand people who say, no, I love wars and trucks.
I love them both.
You can love them both. I'm a nerd for both fucking hyperspace and warp drive.
And dude,
Hell,
I
I'm
just finished.
I'm such a
I-
weirdo. I would love to see a crossover.
They've had crossovers.
They've had crossovers, yeah,
And it's
they've been
amazing.
funny. I watch DS9 at least 3-4 times a year.
Yeah.
I
it's
just
good.
finished it again, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Well, we just moved on to our favorite Voyager episodes. We just did Blinds, which she did a good couple sets. I'm not going to ruin it. You guys should really just follow my fake link because I'm not a mod, so you're going to have to cut copy. And just find some of the old ones because her picks were awesome. I can't remember who's going next. I think Irate said he was, or was it Hammer? Either way, I'm going third. Yeah, I think it's Hammer, so I'm going third. Which is going to be hard for me because Voyager was never my favorite.
Yeah.
But it
had its moments.
good. Yeah, it has its moments.
Still Star Trek.
I might end up picking Ferengi stuff just to piss off.
I am the Grand Proxy.
Yeah,
The Grand Proxy.
the Grand Proxy. I might just do it just to get his reaction.
It's such a funny episode too.
It is great.
Please do, Dad.
you know what? I'm going
lose
to.
my shit.
It's in my top 20, so I guess.
But goddamn you guys for doing that show the same time I do my show on
I
Saturdays.
know,
But aside from the interaction I get through live chat, still go back and I watch every episode because you guys know what you're fucking talking about, and
we try.
and well, I mean, you blend it so well with your just geeky moments. Like, it's a horrible episode, but I loved it because
Yeah, I try to pick those episodes on purpose. It's like they aren't too serious, and that's why I like them because everybody else has a serious episode. Like I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about the Phage. I think that's the name of the episode that we discussed a little bit before we ended. It's really kind of a downer. It's an entire species who are losing body parts. They're basically all lepers. And I would pick something on the opposite spectrum, like the fucking Grand Proxy stuff.
yeah, that or oh god, what was that terrible one with Neelix and the forest with Flotter, Naomi Wildman? Oh my god, so bad.
I vaguely remember it. I probably have to rewatch Voyager, but hopefully he'll give me the episodes in time that I can just at least watch his, and then I'll put the other stuff on in the background. I never fucking finished it. I'm on like season 7, episode 5.
A Voyager?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It's weird. I know what happens.
Yeah. But you've never actually sat down and watched those episodes. That's interesting.
Because I was watching
that was probably one of my, aside from the first season, that was probably one of my most, I like it all, but my most disliked season because it was just, you could tell that they were running out of ideas.
Yeah, they were just wrapping it up.
And they knew that the end was coming and the end was rushed.
They should have just ended with 6 with adding, they should have done 6 with 5 more episodes out of the stories that they chose for season 7 and just done with it. Because they had to do the whole fucking Borg thing.
Yeah. At least they didn't do what Enterprise did.
Oh, poor Enterprise.
It was just getting its footing.
Yeah, it got really good after season 2.
Yeah, like if I rewatch Enterprise, I watched, I think, like the first 2-parter. Season 2 with the Andorians. There's that one arc because
I love Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs is the fucking Star Trek man. People want to talk about Picard versus Kirk? Go right a fucking head. Jeffrey Combs is the fucking man. Wayun, fucking Cardassian.
He's Brunt.
Andorian.
He's an Andorian. It's so good. But we're overstepping our time. We're gonna go now.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry,
gonna
I'm just
play
like,
it.
I'm in hungry mode.
Anything
I'm like,
else we need to
just
talk
ignore
about,
your
Jen?
hunger, Jen. You can do it.
No,
Jen,
We're
you're
all done
hungry.
chilling?
Shut up. Let's go. I don't know why you're making us like wait. We should have gone already.
I'm gonna just play us out.
Fuck it up!
Bye, everybody.
Don't
Yeah,
give
Have a
Just
good
let
one,
yourself
guys.
back.
Thanks for coming out.
Bye.
Fuck it up!